Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Faber. 713 RN PhD. It is what it is. How are you, Mr. Interstellar? Unique. How are you, Chris? Hey, Daniel. Hey, user 665. Naked Boots. How are you? User 855. How are you doing, Moon? Felicia 2L. Hello, Mrs. Smiley. Julie Girl. Sherry. How are you? Ice Manning. How are you doing today? What's I miss up there? SLR 2022. How you doing? Come into the room. Come into the room. Hey, Andrea. David, how are you, Paul? DJGA, how are you? Hey, Huck, how are you, Alu? How are you, Logic? How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Colin, how are you? Thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that. Unifun, how are you? And me first, Wholeness. I love that. Hey, Sherry, how you doing, Mike? How are you doing today? Elisa, how are you? Thank you so much for the roses. Roses user, how are you? Hey, Kristen. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Purpose and Resilience. How you doing, brother? Thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am doing well, Logic. A little sleepy, but I'm doing well. Hey, GD, how are you? Thank you so much, Resilience, Purpose and Resilience for the roses. I appreciate that. Ronald King, thank you so much for joining. Hey, Adele. Hey, Logic. Hey, Crypto. Come on in, Miss Attitude. How you doing? Oni. Thank you so much, Logic. I appreciate that. Hey, Grace. Hey, Hello Kitty for Life. Today we're going to talk about, are you lost? Are you lost? Come into the room, tap the screen for me. Make sure that you're tapping the screen for me. Get me to 10,000 likes. If you just keep tapping the screen, even with a few people in here, we can get there. So I am Coach Michelle Monet. I am a certified relationship coach. For those who do not know me, I go live every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Along with on Sundays, I go live with 5 other certified coaches. We go live every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Blessed, how are you? Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Hey, Edward, how are you? Thank you so much for joining. So we're going to talk about being lost. Like, have you ever looked in the mirror and you realized that the person staring back with you was pretty much a stranger? Have you ever felt that somewhere in the journey of love that amidst all those compromises and all those sacrifices that you did not recognize yourself? If you've gotten to the place of embarking upon any type of journey and you feel like you were not the person that you were in the beginning, Johnny Jackie, thank you so much for sharing. If you've ever felt that way, you are in the right room today. Go ahead and share this live with at least 5 people. Make sure that you're tapping the screen because I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to share a personal story. I'm going to also talk about how to understand that loss, because sometimes, especially as adults, how we learn, it has to be relatable. It has to be understandable in the way that we understand it. And it has to be something that we can actually use. So I'm going to actually talk about that. We're going to talk about how to navigate forward after losing yourself. And then I want to talk about deep diving into the emotional intelligence and the things that happen in your emotions during that time. Even giving you some comprehensive things to do, some exercises and some things that you can actually do to find yourself again. Thank you guys so much for sharing the live. I appreciate that. And so we're going to have this conversation because I think that it's really necessary. I've been in a place myself where I've given so much to other people that when I looked in the mirror, I did not know who I was. There had gotten a time in my life where I felt like I was everything to everybody else, but I was nothing to myself. I was not the person that I needed to be. I was responding or reacting in ways that I never, yeah, absolutely. Empaths do that. I was not in a place where I needed to be. I was responding or reacting in ways that I normally wouldn't have responded or reacted. I was saying things that I wouldn't have necessarily said before if I was in my square, right? Yeah, you have to start pouring into yourself. And so when you get to that place where you're losing yourself so much that you don't recognize your speech, you don't recognize yourself looking in the mirror, you don't recognize yourself in the things that you do, you don't recognize yourself in just who you are, there's a time when you have to stop. You have to ask yourself, wait a minute, am I going to continue this way? or am I going to do something about it? I talk about this all the time. Everybody has scars, but we have to decide what we will do with them. We can either use them as excuses and talk about, well, it is what it is. No pun intended, it is what it is. Or we could talk about how, well, I don't know what else to do, and I don't know what I can, where I can go, or nobody wants to help me, or, you can play victim. You can continue that way. Hey, Boogie, how you doing? Thank you so much, DJ, for following. I appreciate that. Or you can decide that there has to be something different. There has to be something more. There has to be there has to be something more from this, because this is not happening to me. It's happening for me. Hey, Free 123 for following. Thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. This 227, how you doing? Hey, Michael Baker. Hey, Marvin. And so when I got to that place, I was either going to keep going, which didn't make sense to me because I was losing myself moment by moment. And every time I would sit with myself, I didn't like who I was. The person that I was with was creating a person, right, that I didn't like. I didn't want to even be in the room with myself, nevertheless want somebody else to be in the room with me. And so I had to make a change. I had to do something different. I had to decide that no more, that I was going to self-reflect. I was going to do some of the things I'm going to tell you all about doing today. And I had to do something different. So it's really important to be in a place of self-discovery on a regular basis, because when you're in a place of self-discovery on a regular basis, when you start to see yourself, lose yourself, you will find it out very quickly. It won't be so late in the game where you have given up yourself and you really can't find yourself back, right? Can't find your way back to yourself. But if you're always discovering self, if you're very self-aware, if you're looking into who you are on a regular basis, it will be very easy for you to get back to yourself, right? And so we want to make sure that we're navigating a path of finding yourself. And I'm going to help y'all do that today. So when you get into patterns, some of the common patterns in losing yourself, such as prioritizing other people over yourself in relationships, prioritizing their wants and their needs over yours. We do this with our children, right? And we can't help but do it with them because they are helpless, right? They need us when they're smaller, when they're younger. And so we made, something very simple as, you're hungry, you want a steak, but you ain't got money for 2-3 steaks and you got 2-3 kids. So you might eat burgers, right? So that's something really small. But when you're in a relationship and your partner wants you to move across the states, right? But you're like, I don't really want to move, but you do it anyway, right? These are things that we actually will do for our partners, even when it makes us uncomfortable. And so you have to get to the place where you are being true to thyself, right? And you are doing things because you really want to, and not because you feel obligated. Thank you so much, user. Because you feel obligated to do it because it's your partner. Because when you do it that way and you're doing it because you want to, then you don't fear the unknown of what if it doesn't work, or what if they don't reciprocate, or all these other things. Give you some simple example. I moved to Georgia in 2015, Lord have mercy, 2019. God. I moved to Georgia in 2019, June of 2019, right before 6 months before the pandemic started, right? And in the pandemic, when I finally got into my own place was the end of 2019, somewhere around October, November. I had moved from my cousin's house and moved into my own place. At that time, now we're starting to see the shutdowns. We're being quarantined. All these different things are happening. And I'm in Georgia by myself. It was, right? Can't go to my cousin's house, can't go to my friend's house, can't go nowhere because we're all quarantined. And since we don't live together anymore, we have to stay by ourselves. The whole time I had to keep thinking, why did you move to Georgia? Why did you move to Georgia? I moved for the weather. Well, you can go experience the weather by yourself. I moved because I'm an empty nester. Well, in being an empty nester, you're going to be by yourself. So I had to keep explaining to myself why I did what I did so that I won't feel like, see, I never should have left my family. Oh, this makes me sick. I should have been in Chicago with my family and without going through this whole victim mentality thing. I had to look at this as a place of more self-discovery, finding out what I like, being here because I moved here from my family to be away from my family, right? To come here for the weather. So I had to tap into that and not be complaining about I was by myself, right? Thank you so much, Johnny Jackie, for sharing. I appreciate that. Yes, Dr. James from Chicago, born and raised. And so when you start to take back your power and start to do things because you want to, even if you feel like you're doing it for your partner, but it's out of the core of who you are, then you take your power back and you're not held hostage by, I'm doing it because my partner wanted me to. Okay. We have to get to the place where we're seeing the patterns in ourselves and we're making adjustments and changes for ourselves and not for the obligation of anybody else. And I want to be very clear. I am not saying that you should not do things for people, but you should be doing things for people without the, as the scripture says, begrudgingly. You should be doing it because you really want to do it so that it does not come across as I'm doing this for you. And the moment they get on your nerves, see, look what I did for you, because that's how it'll come out. But if you're like, well, I did it for you. And if it doesn't work out, I still did it out the kindness of my heart. I did it because it's who I am. I love you because I do. You know, when I hear people say things like, why do you love me? Well, you want to hear those whys, right? But you also don't want to hear the fact that you don't want them to say, but what if those things change? What if I no longer, if you like my shape, what if I'm no longer that shape? What if I gain 25 pounds? Are you still going to love me? What if I can't do for you the same things that I would have done for you because you love me, right? Are you still going to love me? And so we have to think about those types of things. And it brings us to a power awareness that we're still doing it because we want to and not out of obligation. So some other things that we do with common patterns is we ignore our own personal boundaries. Anybody on here ever had boundaries, personal boundaries, and they've ignored them to do something for somebody else? I have. Dave, I'm only political when I need to be. I have. So I've ignored my own personal boundaries for people and it backfired on me. What you're doing when you are ignoring your own personal boundaries for someone else, you are breaking your own promises. You have made promises to yourself and you're deciding to say, nope, you're not important, self. I don't want to do that for you, self. I'm going to go ahead and break the boundaries that you set because you put them there to protect yourself. But you don't have to protect yourself. You just go ahead and give up on your boundaries and let this person have it, right? And so we've got to get to the place where our boundaries are the promises to ourselves and you don't give them away. Because guess what happens when you break promises or you lie to yourself? How dare you say to someone else, don't you lie to me? Oh, you lied to me? Or you told me the dishonest truth? Or you were deceitful? You were manipulative? Well, you were doing that to yourself. And you're teaching other people. Hey, D. Hughes, how are you? Hey, Greg, how you doing? Hey, Justice, thank you so much for following. You were lying to yourself. And so people will treat you the same way you treat yourself. So if you want somebody to be truthful, hey, Linda, if you want somebody to be truthful to you, be truthful to yourself first. I'm wonderful, Greg. Thank you so much for asking. My pleasure, Justice. You cannot expect someone to be truthful to you and not deceive you if you're doing it to yourself first, right? Another thing is losing touch or personal interest with your friends. Anybody, I used to say this. I don't say this anymore because we have to be careful about the words that we speak. I'm a relationship person. And since I want to just be with my man all the time, I don't want to hang. But then guess what happens when that person has now gone away? You done lost those friends that you done gave up. Your whole life is nothing but them. All you're doing is being focused on this person. Your personal interest, all your hobbies, your friends are going away because every time they would call you up, they want to go out and you tell them, I can't, girl. Oh man, I can't go. You know how she be acting when I go out and hang out with y'all. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. If you can't be the person that you were, and I want to be very clear because I'm going to give a caveat to that, but I'm going to say this first. If you can't be the person that you were walking into the relationship, be careful about who you become in that relationship. Now, let me give you the caveat. Yes, when you get into a relationship, should you shed the individual I'm single thing? Yes, you should. Should you shed those single-minded situations? Yes, you should. Should you shed the selfishness? Yes, you should. But you should not shed who the core of you are, who is, okay? You should not shed your own personal boundaries. You should not shed your own values and beliefs. Thank you so much for the gifts. It is what it is. Hey, Elroy, how you doing? Hey, spiritual. I think it's spiritual uplift you. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Hey, D. When you start to shed who you are, then who have you become? Are you lost? Right? Did you become lost? Right? Every decision is based upon improving your. Absolutely, Tim. It should be synergistic. It is about balance, requirements, and regulations of you. Hey, sweet stuff. How you doing, my love? I'm wonderful, Elroy. Thank you so much for asking. Changes should be synergistic. You should be bringing the best of one, the best of another, bringing them together to make a greater one. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be you lose yourself, move into this person and make them better. It has to be both people should become better. They should gain something from it. And I want to be clear, there are going to be moments in every relationship where there's 80-20, 60-40, 70-30, but that should not be the consistency of the relationship. I'm glad that you're good, sweet stuff. My pleasure. That should not be consistency of the relationship. It should not be so one-sided that you become depleted. I don't have no water today up in here. But I keep telling people, you cannot take a cup this tall when you're down here with your water, with who you are, right? And you expect it to overflow because you should be advocating or giving or being to someone else from your saucer, not your cup. Your cup should be overflowing and everything out of the flow should be given to whoever it is. But if you're trying to give out of a cup and it's not even a quarter full, when will it ever be full again? You have to pour back into yourself first and then ask other people to pour into you. But if you're pouring into yourself and they're taking and taking, they're never pouring back into you. And then the little bit that you are pouring in yourself, you start to give to them. Now you're ultimately going to be depleted and you're not going to be able to give out of an abundance because there's nothing of an abundance to give. You have to have boundaries. So you have to maintain your personal interest. And if you're with somebody that has different personal interests, it's okay. Like you don't have to do everything together, but you just have to create a dynamic where the trust factors are there that when you go off to yourself to do your thing, and I want to be very clear, the right thing, okay? Then they shouldn't be worried about who you with and who you gonna be with and all birds of a feather flock together. And if he cheating, then I know my man cheating. Or if she cheating, I know my woman cheating. No, you should have trust that whoever they're around, they will share when they need to share because your relationship is safe. But if you're trying to create a dynamic where they are forced to go and be with that person because they don't feel safe with you, then they're going to start wanting to be more with that person. Thank you, Sandra, for following. I appreciate that. Trust them to be them. I've been saying that for years. If you want the best out of a person, allow them to be 100% of who they are, not who you're trying to create them to be. Hey, Elite Travel. Hey, Sensual Soul. Duncan, how are you? Hey, beautiful Maya. So when you deal with this, the psychological impact of you going through this process and depleting yourself and giving more than you actually have is going to be low self-esteem, lack of confidence, dependency, emotional dissonance. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. You're going to lose yourself, in other words, in simple terms. You won't be confident. You won't be able to be so much for other people. You're only going to be able to give them a little bit. And for those who can't seem to find it for themselves, and they're just the people that always want to give, and you're like, but I'm just a giver, and I just have to give of myself, and I just love helping other people. Then do it for them. Find yourself and do it for them. Because you can only give parts of yourself if you don't have all of yourself. Now that sounds crazy, right? But you have to have yourself in fullness and in abundance so that you can have the capacity to give to other people. Hey, Yolanda, thank you so much for following. Hey, Magnus. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people that you want to help. Absolutely, Linda. Hey, Neeks, thank you so much for following. I used to do that. I'm going to tell you something. There was a time when I was so depressed in my life where I could only get up for other people. So if I would tell my friends, y'all know I'm struggling right now. I struggled with depression for a long time in my life. I need y'all to call upon me. I need you to be like, hey, Michelle Monet, I need you to come and do this. I need you to come and do that. Because the moment I said yes, I was on the line. My name means a lot to me. I don't want people to say, she sure always talking about she gonna be there for me, but she ain't never there for me. I didn't want that. So what I would do is I would get up and I would go do it. And that helped me because I was helping someone else. And in helping them, I was helping myself until I got the strength to do it because I needed to do it for me. So sometimes hey, yo mama, sometimes we have to borrow the strength from other people until we can find it for ourselves. But don't let the momentum get past you. Don't. Make sure that you find it for yourself and you use that momentum and you keep going. Because losing yourself, it's like watching. Have anybody ever been at a funeral where somebody is so close to them it seemed like there was an out of body experience? I've experienced that. I'm a unicorn though, so it may be just me. Yes. Just imagine that feeling as you watch yourself die. F1, y'all. On being unalived. You open all types of doors, Dr. 1873. T24, thank you so much for sharing. Call me Conda, thank you so much. Thank you, Vera. Thank you, Boogie. Sometimes we step outside of our bodies and it feels like you're floating. That's when I know when I'm out of alignment. When I feel like I'm floating. And I'm like, what is that? Get back in alignment. Find yourself. Because see, this is not a one-time fit or one-time thing or one-size-fit-all situation. You will go through this process a lot. Accountability is far and few in between, Dr. 1873. So we've got to get to the place where we understand that we have to keep pouring back into ourselves. It is a lifetime work, right? It is not, blessed, a quick fix thing. It is something that you have to keep doing. You can't lose 40 pounds and then keep eating the way that you want to eat and never work out again. You got to keep working out. Yes, but you got to first trust yourself. Most people don't trust other people because they don't trust themselves. Y'all tap them numbers. Stop. Tap the screen for me. Most people don't trust other people because they don't trust themselves. You have to get to the place where you're trusting yourself first. People that trust themselves, it will come easy to trust other people. And I want to be very clear. Should we see with rose-colored glasses off? Absolutely, right? But you should be walking around going, I'm watching you. Yeah, I'm watching you. Yeah, something wrong with you. Yeah, I know you're about to do something wrong. I see you over there. Shouldn't do that. It should be everybody's a good person until they're not. Everybody's a good person until they're not. If you're walking in side-eyeing people, you don't trust yourself. Let me tell you how that's true. When you trust yourself, you trust that whatever situation that you walk into and you attach yourself to, you are attaching yourself with the best information that you have at the moment. That means that whatever information that you have that you're attaching yourself to, you trust it and you trust yourself to understand that, hey, I'm in the right place at the right time. Does that mean that it will always be the right time or the right place? No. What that means is with the information that you have, at that moment, you are making the right decision at that moment. 5 minutes later, it could change. But right now, what I trust is myself, and I'm in the right place at the right time. And whatever happens is going to happen for me, and I'm going to be here for it, for the lesson. Thank you so much, Prepare, for the follow. Hey, Wax, how are you? Thank you for following. That takes trust. Otherwise, you'll be walking around side-eyeing everybody, and you can miss blessings because you're doing that. Right? You want to make sure that you are wise, right? But wise people, what do wise people do? They study themselves. They study other things. They study wisdom to show themselves approved, right? Some of us Christians and believers, we talk study the word of God to show yourself approved. What is the word of God? Wisdom. We make being righteous, we make being our best self so mystical, so out of reach, so all beyond us, so high. It's not. Hey, Dark Nato, how are you? How are you, my love? It makes it so big. Like it's not that hard. It's not. We complicate things more complicated than they need to be. Discernment has to be involved. Wax, be your best self. I think we're in the wrong room. We're talking about relationships on this side. Too much gain in the mic, JH. I don't know how to fix. That's all this mic is. You pop it on, you pop it in, you pop it on. Is it hurting anybody's ears? I'm doing well, Dark Nato. 69 drop top. Thank you so much. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. Hey, Bedford. Thank you so much. Hello. How are you? Hey, Nina. Anybody having any issues with the mic? Is it hurting anybody's ears? Thank you so much for the crown. I appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Tim. Hey, Charlotte. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, good. So when you're dealing with those types of things, you got to start getting back to that self-discovery, right? How do you get back to a journey of self-discovery? Let's talk about it. The first thing you want to do is acknowledge that you're even there. Acknowledge the importance of how you should find yourself. Why is that important? Why is it important not just for yourself, but other people, right? You have to model yourself in the best way. There are other people watching you, even when you don't think that they're watching you. I don't care if you are an influencer and you got one person following you, or you ain't never been on social media. You are influencing somebody's life. You don't have to be an influencer with a whole bunch of followers or a whole bunch of likes or be on video or talk on a podcast. You ain't got to do none of that. Thank you, Miss Honey, for following. I appreciate that. Hey, Miss Lady, how are you? Hey, Willie, thank you so much. You don't have to be that. You are influencing somebody's life, whether you know it or not. And so it's important that when you wake up in the morning, that you're your best self, because there's going to be somebody's life that you're going to touch. And first, it needs to be yours. So first, you want to acknowledge the loss of yourself. Acknowledge that you're not quite right with yourself. Acknowledge that you're off your square a little bit. Acknowledge that you're not 100% of who you were. Now, let's talk about this. Sometimes who you were is not who you need to be. So determine if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Did you lose yourself and you gain something better? Or did you lose yourself and get something worse? Acknowledge that. Find that out. One, Linda, I think it's a spiritual thing. It has been said that it is not good for us to be alone. So I think that that's a natural occurrence of how we were wired to not want to be alone. But as far as putting off the healing process, because we don't know how. There's a dissonance that happens in humans, especially adults. When you don't know how to do something, the first thing you do is separate yourself from it. When you feel an inadequacy because you don't know what to do, you procrastinate or you put it off altogether. And so when people are like, I know something's not right with me, but I don't really know what to do. It's kind of the same thing. I talk about this all the time. How our bodies heal from injury is the exact same way our minds and our hearts heal. Exactly the same, right? How many of you have ever said, oh, I don't feel real good. My stomach feels a little wheezy, or I'm feeling a little bit nauseous. My head kind of hurt. And then you say to yourself, I'm not sure if I got a cold or the flu. I don't know what's happening. But you don't run to the doctor. You don't know what's happening. You know something's off, but you don't go and get help. That's kind of the same thing. We kind of put that off as well. We kind of figure out, well, maybe I just figure it out on my own. I don't need that coaching. That coach girl with that big hair and that funny name. I don't know what her name is. It's some funny name, right? It's Michelle Monet. But whatever it is, that chick, that she always talking about this whole our bodies heal the same way our minds and our hearts heal. But I don't know what she's talking about. I ain't gonna make no appointment with her because I don't even know what she's talking about, right? But she told me that, if I keep putting off my healing, I wasn't going to get healed. I was going to make myself worse. But you know what? That's all right. I'm just going to be all right. I'm doing it myself. I'm going to find out for myself, right? We know something's off, but we don't do anything about it because we don't like inadequacy. Thank you, Strother, for following. I appreciate that. Hey, Cardell. We don't like inadequacy. We don't want to say, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if I'm holding on to resentment. I don't know if I'm holding on to unforgiveness. I don't know. We don't like it. So the very first thing we do is go, I'm going to just pay attention over here. I'm going to get this book and I'm going to pay attention over here. I'm going to mind my own business. Ain't nobody bother me. I ain't going to bother. Thank you, Noli, for the roses. I appreciate that. Thank you for following, JH. Thank you, Hugh, for following. I appreciate that. Hey, Corliss Pouch. Instead of us going full-fledged in, I'm going to find out what's wrong and I'm going to fix it. We don't do that. So after you acknowledge and you accept that something's wrong and you need to do something about it, then you're going to rediscover the interest in the things that you like. How do you do that? Sit down with yourself and dream and dream and dream some more and write these things down. And until you accomplish them all, don't stop. Write down anything that you ever thought that you wanted to do and just go do it. And then you're going to find out, nope, I didn't like that. I really like that. Whoa, I didn't even know that existed. You're going to start to rediscover things in life. This world is your oyster for the taking. You should know, and I'll come back to that dark natal. You should know what you like and what you don't. And it shouldn't be just a question that you get on a dating app, what you like to do for fun. You should know who you are. So when you say dark natal, how do you deal with love? Explain that more, because how do you deal with loss of love? How do you deal with finding love? I need more. Once you rediscover your interests and your passions, you start the journey through hobbies. If you want to go back for another degree, was it when you were a kid? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I was telling my friends like a month ago, maybe I should go back and get my law degree. And now that they're up here talking about you ain't got to take the bar to become a lawyer, maybe I will. Y'all heard about that? The bar is no longer a part. What does love look like? Love is different. I'm going to tell you this. So I believe that God is love, right? And so when you talk about what I believe that God is love, love is patient, love is kind, love gives grace, all those other fruits of the Spirit, right? That's my view about love. But everybody has a different view, and they have to find out what that means for them. But I believe that love has it does not boast, it does not envy, it does not keep track of the wrongs. So we all have those places where we're not really we're conditionally loving. Absolutely, Logic. Hey, Janelle, thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. So because of who we are, we gather. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. We gather the things about love based off of how we've been shaped. Born into sin, shaped into iniquity, also shaped into how we believe, what we believe, right? And so when we believe what we believe, nobody can come in and say, well, love is this for you. You have to know what that looks like for you. Just make sure it feels good. Make sure it's not toxic. Make sure that it aligns with who you are, which is why it's very important for us to know what our core values and beliefs are. Like, I'm a believer. I believe in Christ. That's my belief. I don't push it off on anybody. But if you ever sit in my platform, you ever coach with me, you will hear me talk about Holy Spirit. You're going to hear me pray, and you're going to hear me talk about the Lord and Christ too, right? You're going to hear me talk about that. But that doesn't mean I'm telling you, you need to. No, I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to talk about it. And if you can follow me, you can either chew the meat and spit out the bones, or don't follow me at all. But you'll hear me say it. But I will never say, you know what, only Christians can do this and only Christians can do that. And if you're not I will never do that. So it's very hard to then say to you what love should be. I just know love should not hurt. I believe that too, Linda. But everybody ain't connected to Christ. So they won't know what that looks like. So even Christ did himself. He reached people and he met people where they were. What do you feel when somebody says, I love you? It should not be pain. It should not be disrespect. It should not be dishonoring. It should not hurt. Simplicity. And then when you find the Lord, if you find him, however you do, then that's what you couple it with. But everybody ain't there. And so I have to reach people where they are. Thank you so much for Dark Natal for following. I appreciate that. So once you acknowledge and accept, rediscover your interests and your passions, then you're going to start to build your confidence. Confidence comes from competence. Competence is doing something over and over and over again. And it could start out with something so simple as in, I'm going to ride a bike. I haven't learned how to ride a bike until I was a kid. Not true. I'm just telling y'all an example. And so I'm going to ride the bike. The more you ride the bike, the more confident you become. So then you've conquered that. Go do something else and be better at that. And so when you are confident in some areas of your life and you still have low self-esteem or lack of confidence over here, this part will start to bleed over into the other parts. You will start to see, well, I can do that. So why can't I do this? Hey, Justice. And you'll start to, how you doing? You'll start to figure out, well, if I can do that, then I definitely can do this. And your confidence will begin to spill over into the areas where you're lacking. But you've got to find something that you are confident in. Everybody is good at something. I don't care what it is. It could be so minute to other people, but big to you, right? Hey, honey bun, thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. So you got to find where you're confident at and then start to do the exact same things. Thank you. It is what it is for the gifts. I appreciate that. And then do this. How did you get good at that? You kept doing it over and over again. You studied it. You figured it out. You didn't back off when it got challenging. The same way that you need confidence over here, you do the same thing. Life is not that challenging that we can't repeat patterns. You repeat patterns when on a negative side, right? Hey, Lady Shaz. Building your confidence and your self-worth, you start to see your value when your confidence rises. You understand who you are. And guess what happens? If somebody came in and said, oh, Justice, so I thought you was riding that bike. You like, look, I rode that bike 15 miles and I didn't stop. I was strong in that bike and I was doing this speed and I was doing that speed. And somebody come to you and try to tell you what you didn't do. You can be like, oh, bro, nah, I got you on that. It's the exact same thing. When you become confident in the areas of your life, nobody's going to come in and tell you that you're not. They won't be able to come in and shake you. Hey, Renata, thank you so much for sharing. They won't be able to shake you. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to agree to disagree, but I know what I know. I know what I know. Like I get people like that on here. I will never share anything on my platform. One, because I love my name and it means a lot to me. I don't need nobody rubbing my name in the dirt. Okay. So anything I share is because I've researched it and I know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Bedford. I appreciate that. Take care. Thank you so much for stopping in. And so you're not going to let nobody shake you. You're going to know what you know and know what you know and know what you know. That brings value. Because what do we value? We value things that are solid, right? We go and buy more expensive things because we think they're better made. And why do we think they're better made? Because we believe that people put more time into it. We believe that the value or the quality of the quality of the what's the word? Craftsmanship. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The craftsmanship is better. Why? Because they took the time. They didn't use a machine to create it. They created it with their own hands. We see the value in that because of what we see people doing, the quality of it. The same thing with our self-value. Put time, energy, effort, finances into yourself. You will see your value rise. And when somebody comes in and tries to take you off your square, you go, I'm valuable over here. You don't get to take that. We do value accomplishments, what we did and can do. Hey, Vera, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. You don't let anybody take it from you. You don't invite people that won't value it. You leave people alone that devalue you. You set boundaries and let them know, cross this line the wrong way. Go ahead, I'm going to draw the line in the sand. Come on, cross it. I dare you. You protect it at all costs. Thank you, Tweet, for following. I appreciate that. You make sure that you protect it. Then you won't have these toxic relationships that you come in and ignore the red flags because they're cute or because, oh, she bad. No. That little 15 minutes that you're going to get out of that is not worth your value. Remember this. They do not put diamonds in the same case as cubic zirconia. Oh, blessed, thank you. They don't. So stop placing yourself in the cabinet with the cubic zirconias or the knockoffs or the pieces of plastic. You have been created and shaped and formed into the beautiful you that you are. Don't let people take that from you. Grab that back and hold on to it. Which brings me to then you set boundaries. After you acknowledge and you accept, we're talking about how do you self-discover? How do you get to the journey of self-rediscovery? You first acknowledge and accept. You rediscover your interests and your passions. You build your confidence and your self-worth. And then you set boundaries to protect it. And you don't let anybody come in. Anybody know who the boundaries are for on here? Tell me, you, somebody else, or both. Tell me who they're for. You, the other person, or both. Because a lot of people don't know this. Y'all can share. We're in a safe space. Okay? They're for you. They don't belong to anybody else but you. Your boundaries are for you. They're not for the other person. What they do is trigger the boundary. They trigger the boundary. So it's kind of like y'all, you ever seen movies where they set booby traps and somebody step on it and it puts a claw on their leg or do those types of things, right? You set the booby trap boundary. They cross it, it goes off, but it doesn't go off on them. It goes off on you. It is time for you to do something. So say, for instance, I say, GD, now, if you keep yelling at me, I'm going to stop talking to you. And then you keep yelling, guess who has to stop talking to you? Me. You can keep talking to me and I'm going to just keep look at you like this. Not saying a word. Okay, I've asked you, GD, to stop yelling at me. You keep doing it. I stopped talking to you. Now I'm going to take myself out of this entire situation. And you have to progressively take those consequences and utilize them. You don't get to say, I told you I'm going to stop talking to you. See, that's what I'm talking about. I told you I was going to stop talking to you. You done did it like 3 or 4 times. I told you I was going to stop talking to you. Because every time you say it again, you lose respect. You lose respect. Hey, Izzy, thank you so much for following me. Hey, Nanny, how are you? Hey, Tough Love, thank you so much for the roses. You lose respect and they don't believe you. You'll be all right. You told me I'm going to just yell again. You'll be all right. No. Progressively, I'm going to stop talking. Okay, you still going. I'm going to remove myself and I won't see you again. Remove yourself. It can't be like, okay, they keep telling me, they keep doing this. No, do it. Which is why you cannot set boundaries that you're not ready for. Absolutely, just as you crossed your own boundary. How do you define relationship boundaries? You have to first know your own standards, Lloyd. What is it that you desire out of a relationship? What are your own standards and values in what you desire out of a relationship? And then you set the boundaries around that. So if one of the boundaries could be, I'm not going to accept somebody hitting me. So I'll give you an example. I don't play fight. I don't like it. I don't like when people do it. Don't do it around me because somebody can get mad like that. And it can go from this little tussling and playing to it can just go into a full-fledged fight. And I don't want to be in the area because I'm going to protect myself at all costs. So don't be or tapping me. I don't like that. Why? Because I was abused before. And so you might trigger me. Not that I'm not healed from the abuse, but I don't want the trigger. Okay. So don't trigger me by hitting me in a playful manner, right? Because some people use play and jokey joke as something they really want to do to you. So I don't play that. So one of my boundaries would be, we don't play fight. We don't do that. So when you come and push me and I go, I told you I don't do that. Don't do that no more. And you come in, oh man, you just acting up. Why you being all serious and stuff? Why you? Let me grab my stuff. I'll talk to you later. Yeah, we're not doing this. Deuces. Not, you know what? This is what I'm talking about. Every time I tell you I don't like that, you keep doing. For what? Why we got to go and have a whole argument about my boundaries that I set for myself? I said, don't do it. And if you keep doing it, I'm going to remove myself, right? Now, if I set the boundary with somebody that I don't really want to remove myself from, it shouldn't be, I'm going to remove myself. It should be, we're going to have a conversation. Whatever is going to keep me. If I'm like, oh, now I want to leave him. I don't want to go. I want to go. Because if they do it, you better hold on to that boundary. Because if you don't, respect out the window. Respect out the window. Yeah, it happens to a lot of us, Vera. Is there such a thing as boundaries being too high or too low? I don't think it's too high or too low. I think that thank you guys so much for getting me on the FYP with 10,000 likes. I really appreciate y'all. I really appreciate it. They're not too low or too high. You have to know that when you set your boundaries in a certain level, it's going to keep you away from people. What I mean by that is everybody doesn't set boundaries. And so when you start to set boundaries, you're going to look like the unicorn in your setting. And people are going to be like, what? Oh, Justice, he always tripping out. Me can't do nothing around him. I mean, like, well, then be ready for that. Be ready for that. When you elevate your mind and you elevate yourself, you will lose and shed people. So as long as you're ready for that, then go right ahead. But your values and your self-worth is never too high. It's never too high. So it should be matching with your values and your self-worth. And whatever that is, that should be. Hey, Letitia. You know what? And nobody can devalue you unless you allow it. And I like the fact that you said it didn't break you. Hey, Mr. Green, how are you, my love? So don't let nobody can devalue you. No, listen, you can come up to a car, right? And maybe I shouldn't use a car because cars devalue as soon as they go off the dang on lot. Let's use some stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds go up and down, up and down. If you buy the real good ones, they're going to still keep their value. You're going to keep your money, right? It could be some things you lose. And if you go at the wrong time, you can lose a little bit of money and stuff like that. But you have to know why you did it for the long run, right? So there's going to be some things in your life where you may not have necessarily liked that you did it or like that you attached yourself to, but it doesn't take your value away. It just means that you're in a temporary situation that's going to dissipate. It's going to dissipate, right? And so you want to make sure that you don't make that you. Your temporary situations do not define who you are. So a person that doesn't value themselves will always attempt to devalue you. Yeah, mama's knock you out. It does take two to argue. And just be quiet. Sometimes you just be quiet, let them do it by themselves. Thank you so much, Tough Love, for following. I appreciate that. Thank you, Christine, for following. Yeah, my boundaries are never going to be too high for me, for anybody, not for me. Thank you guys, Chosen One, for following. I appreciate that. My pleasure, Justice. Good evening, Pitmaster. You got some ribs over there? Yeah. Thank you, Bit, for following. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Green, for the gifts. I appreciate that. So after you accept and acknowledge, we talked about the journey to self rediscovery. After you acknowledge and accept, you rediscover your interests and your passions. You build your confidence and your self worth. You set those boundaries. Now, how do you move and navigate forward? Know, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate that, Vera. You have to know and understand. Oh, got some ribs over there. All right, now. You have to know and understand that this journey, it's not a 1 day, 2 day, 5 day, 1 year, 2 year. It is a lifetime journey. You're going to take a couple of steps forward, a couple of steps back. You might take 10 steps forward, 20 steps back. You might keep doing this. It doesn't mean that you're not doing anything, unless you're not. Because there's some people who just feel like time is going to heal our wounds. Know that that is a big lie. Time does not heal your wounds if you're not doing anything. Thank you, it is what it is, for the perfume. I appreciate that. Hey, Bayou Man. Thank you so much for following. Know that time does not heal your wounds. If you're not talking to a therapist or a coach or doing something different, time is just moving like it's supposed to, and you're sitting there wasting it. That's all. Time is not going to help you lose weight. Time is not going to help you learn the craft. Time is not going to help you. Time ain't doing nothing for you but doing what it's supposed to do, minding its business. Thank you, Leah Javinci. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate you. Hey, Elle, the Love Alchemist. How you doing? Mr. I'm Him. How are you? Thank you so much for following. Hey, Mika. Thank you so much for following. Hey, Book of Enoch. So stop waiting for time. Do something. Do something. Get you a coach. Get you a self-help book if you can't afford a coach. Get you a therapist if you got EAP or EPA. Is it EAP or EPA? One of them, some insurance, okay, from your work. Do something. Do something. Oh, I'm glad that you're here, the Love Alchemist. Thank you so much for following. Hey, little Joe. You have to make sure that this is a continuous journey and is not a destination. You have to have resilience. You have to have patience and grace. Give yourself the most grace that you believe that you should have. What does that mean? Everybody should have an extended amount of grace. It is unmerited. It is unmerited. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to choose wrong sometimes. You're going to do some things that you might have been like, I can't believe I did that. Your instant thing should be, after you do it should be, okay, what's the lesson? All right, let me find some paper and pen. Let me find that lesson. What's that lesson? Oh, don't know it yet. Okay, let me figure it out. And you go into more self-discovery to find the lesson. Find the lesson. When you find the lesson, move on. Don't hold on to it. Don't be like, oh man, that was a good lesson, but I can't believe I did that. No, everything happens for you, not to you. Get that. Thank you, Sister V. I appreciate that. Everything happens for you, not to you. Once you learn the lesson, guess what you don't have to do? Repeat it. Absolutely, Joan. If you're there, because everybody ain't there. It's natural first, then spiritual. That's what we're talking about today, Ski. Or Sky, if that's what it is. We're talking about that. Today we're talking about, are you lost? How to rediscover yourself. Stay with me. I'll go over it in a little bit. I'll recap. But after you realize that you have to give yourself grace because this is a continuous journey, you want to make sure that you're seeking some type of support. I said that. Either get yourself a therapist, depending on how deep those traumatic wounds are. Coach, if you already know what's wrong with you so that you can move forward. A self-help book. Do something. Do something. Do not use it as an excuse for just being who you are. Oh, well, it is what it is. I I've been like this all my life. I mean, you can't teach old dogs new tricks, or I'm just old fashioned like that. I mean, I'm old school. I mean, you can't, I ain't gonna change. I'm just gonna. Yes, you can. Biggest lie you ever told yourself, that you can't change. You can't learn. You too old to learn. You're not. I know a 95-year-old woman who got her bachelor's degree. She graduated with me when I got my first master's. 95. So it's never too late to learn. You just have to be willing. You have to be open. You can't be so stubborn and so stuck in your way that you don't think that you can grow. You're never too old. You're never too old. I'm grateful that you're here too, Peaches. Oh, I love you back. Good, Vera. I'm happy for you. I pray that you get everything that you need out of that. And advocate for yourself. Make sure that you are getting everything that you need out of it. Hey, Island Boy, how are you? My pleasure, Peaches. Grace for me, thank you so much for joining. Once you seek that support, whether that be friends, let me be clear about that. Hold on, let me back up. The friend stuff, make sure it ain't one of them friends that's hating on you secretly. Make sure it ain't one of them friends that want you to run into the brick wall as fast as you can so they can go, I knew she was going to do it. I knew he was going to do that. No. Find friends that have wisdom. Let me tell you what that looks like. A friend that has wisdom will tell you about yourself. Tell you when, nah, you wrong, bruh. Nah, girl, you need to stop that. But they will also support you in whatever decision that you try to make. If they come to you, if you come to them and you're like, what should I do? And they tell you, I don't think you should do that. But whatever you want to do, I got your back. 100%. Whether you want to go left or you want to go right, I got your back. But I really think you should probably go left, the other left. But whatever you decide to do, I'm a back you. But I'm going to tell you the truth. That's a friend. But that one that go, I don't know what you should do, girl. I don't know, man. I don't even know what you should do. And then the moment they backfire you, man, I told you should have did that. I knew it. I was feeling that in my spirit. Leave them peoples alone. And I said it with an S. Folk be always tripping on me with that because I be adding S's to my words and they be in my comments. I have a master's degree in education and training and development. I got to verify y'all. Hold on. And so I know how to use the words when I add S's and I add all those other things to words because I feel like it sounds better. I don't cuss unless I'm really, 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 really mad. I ain't gonna lie that I ain't gonna tell you that at that point when hell rises up in me, hell comes out. But on a regular day-to-day basis and talking, I don't do that. It's not in me to do it. I don't like it. It makes me feel icky. So, but I will add S's to my words. You cannot believe everything you think. Tough love. Let me tell you how we'll get out. We get into our own way by our minds. Remember, your mind is there to keep you from doing things that feel uncomfortable. And growth feels uncomfortable. Hey, Scorpio 69, how are you? I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Hey, Aunt Latifa, thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate that. Dr. James, that's what we do, coach. Listen, you getting ready to go to Jules? Jules? Lord have mercy. Hey, Aunt Latifa. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Marjorie, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, but you want to understand. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this whole emotional intelligence. The hardest thing, yeah. Because a lot of people do not understand what it means to be emotionally intelligent. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Anybody on here familiar with the word? I'm sure you've heard it. Anybody on here very familiar with what it means? You can put yes for you're familiar and 2 for you know what it means. Hey, Jerry Berry. Money, meals, mothering. I love that, the three M's. Paula, how are you? Hey, friend. Noel O'Neill, thank you so much for joining. What word? We're talking about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Everybody familiar with that? And not just to say it, just be saying, because it's just like a trending word right now. Happy new month to you, Noel. And so many people are throwing it out, but they don't really know what it means. So let's just talk about that for those who don't want to answer because they don't want to feel like they don't know. So we got some people that's always going to be like that. I'm always that one that I'll be like, I'm going to ask the question because I know it's somebody else in this room that don't know, right? Hey, Ashley, thank you so much for joining. So emotional intelligence is when you are able to deep dive and enable yourself to manage and regulate your emotions in whatever situation. Doesn't matter how high the situation go, how low the situation go, you know how to bring yourself back up to balance. Most people don't. Most people rise and match energies. Go down, match energies. Wherever you are, they matching you. And when you get into a place where you don't trust, that's when your emotional intelligence will typically go up and down frequently, right? Because you don't feel safe. So you're trying to find place of regulation all the time because you're trying to find safety, right? And so when you're not in a place of emotional intelligence or simple emotional regulation, you are matching this energy and your self-regulation and your self-discovery kind of goes out the window, right? So you got to get to the place where you're so self-centered, so self-aware that you know when your emotional intelligence or your emotional regulations is off a teeter, off a little bit. And you go, nope, So I'm feeling sad today. Why am I feeling sad? What does that feel like? What has happened? Who is involved? Okay. Is this around that time for the ladies? Oh, is it around that time for the guys? We all have hormones and they deregulate sometimes, right? So do we need to figure out what's happening? Did I eat too much pork? Did I eat too much beef? Did I eat enough too much salt? Did I have too much sugar? Whatever the case may be, let me figure out myself and figure out why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. Let me regulate. Hey, Awakening Radiance. Thank you so much for being here. How are you? And so when you start to do that, your emotional intelligence starts to rise. It's really simple. We mystify these words, and we think that we have to go get a whole another degree to figure it out. We don't. Once you are emotionally resilient, you're emotionally regulated, you are countering the attacks that come in to deregulate that. You're not matching people's energy just out the sake of, oh, no, you ain't going to treat me like that. We will then balance. And then that part of self-discovery comes into play and it becomes really healthy for us, right? But then there's some times when our attachment styles will come in and knock all that off, which is what we talked about earlier with how you lost yourself. Because you are in this anxious attachment situation. You're in this avoidant attachment situation. You are in this place where you are attaching yourself out of fear. You are trauma bonding. All these different things come into play when you are attaching yourself to people that you shouldn't be attached to in the first place. And it affects our self-perception, right? So when you start to move towards a more secure attachment, which we have a very low amount of people that have a secure attachment. Most people are somewhere in avoidant or anxious, if they're honest. They're either avoiding relationships or avoiding the conflict or avoiding the arguments or avoiding the intimacy or avoiding the conversations, or they are attaching themselves and being overly emotional, overly needy, overly connected, overly enmeshed, all those types of things. Very few in between will you find someone who's balanced in that and knows how to move where they need to move. Thank you, Inspired Creators, for following. I appreciate that. Thank you, Lena, for following. Hey, Rakameen. Hey, Brina. This has a really high impact when you deal in your past. We talked about this yesterday for those who don't know. First, let me reset the room. I am Coach Michelle Monet. I am a certified relationship coach, and I go live every Monday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually come on for about an hour, hour and a half to be able to talk about whatever I believe that the Lord has given me for the people. We talk about that. Then I answer any questions at the end. I will try to answer questions if I'm flowing real good, but the Lord is helping me right now. Then I can answer some questions in between, but I will answer every question. And if I missed a question because I'm talking, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to get the thought out because I'm getting old, y'all. So sometimes I got to get the thought out before I forget it, right? But I will come back and answer any questions. I am a part of, which is what I was talking about earlier, I'm a part of a team with 5 certified coaches. We go live every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're called the Transformation Team. We're your favorite coaches on TikTok. And so we do that to be able to help as many people as we possibly can. So make sure that you're following me, hit that notification bell so that you can go ahead and get notified whenever I go live. Emotional intelligence is very essential in a relationship, and so many people do not have it. They don't. They think that they do, but they don't. Because emotional intelligence really tells you how you're going to respond to other people. And when we're emotionally intelligent, that means we can not only just regulate our emotions, but we can also maintain regulation with someone else's. Not mean that we're controlling theirs, right? But we're able to maintain ourselves within that situation when theirs are awry. Hey, B, right? And so the role of self-discovery, the role of self-care in self-discovery is so pertinent. We talked about this a little bit, but I really want y'all to understand that you must prioritize self-care, self-awareness, making sure and men, it ain't getting your hair cut every 2 weeks. Women, is not getting your hair done and your nails done every 2-3 weeks. It is way more than taking care of the outwardness. It is regulating yourself. It's bringing yourself to a calm when things are awry. And you can't do that in the moments if you're not regularly doing that. Meditating. So many times I hear Christians say, I'm not supposed to meditate. You got to meditate on the word. Yeah, word says meditate on the word because that's a good thing, right? But sometimes you're not there. So just listen to yourself. Close your eyes, ground your feet, put the feet on the floor with no socks, put your hands on on your thighs, and listen to the things outside of you. And just call it out. It's not that, it's not the woo voodoo mysticism. It ain't that. All meditation is quieting yourself. How many of you cannot get 1 for yes, 2 for no? How many of you cannot drive in your car for an hour with the radio off? Hey, sensations. Hey, Mary. How many of you cannot drive in your car for an hour with your radio off? I can too. I don't need the sounds. Those who are saying no need to try it. Yes, 1 is yes. Yes, you can for number 1. No, you can't for 2. Yeah. That means you're okay with yourself. Yeah. We've got to get to the place where we're okay with ourselves. How many of you believe that you can be without a relationship? Yes, thank God. Be without a relationship for the next 5 years. Number 1 for yes, number 2 for no. And I'm not talking about like I'm tired of relationships. I'm talking about people coming for you. You see healthy relationships, but you can decide that I'm just going to spend the next 5 years by myself. I just want to get to know me. I just want to spend time with me. Good. Yeah. Yeah. And enjoy yourself. So many people are afraid to be alone in this day and age. So many people are afraid to be alone. But you can be in a relationship and be lonelier than you ever was in the relationship. If you don't like yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't enjoy your own company. Absolutely, tough love. Yeah, you can be married and lonely. You People don't understand. Your loneliness or the lack thereof or your fulfillment should not come from other people. You've got to get to know yourself. Your fulfillment should come from you. And when somebody that's great and beautiful and they love and they don't know your value and know your true self-worth, that should be an addition. And you don't go into, oh my God, they know me. No, you don't get that excited. Why? Because you know yourself. You're like, well, I thank you. I appreciate that. Glad that you know me because I know me. Right? And so then you don't get so enamored and so impressed by something that somebody should always already do. And that's be kind to you. That's treat you well. That's treat you with value. That's treat you with respect. That treats yourself, know your self-worth. That's treat you with the utmost, right? So that you're not enamored by somebody coming in and doing something so simple that they should do anyway. They are, Linda, afraid to reach out and seek help. And that's because, thank you so much. It is what it is for the gifts. I appreciate you. That is because we have been told and taught that seeking help means you're weak. Seeking help means you're crazy. Seeking help is a no-no. You should be telling people your business. What goes on in our house stays in our house. This is why Black people don't go to counseling. Who told you that? Crazy stuff. That's what? People would drive around a whole city lost without saying, or, hey, you know what block this is? I'm kind of lost. I don't know where I'm at. You ain't gonna do that. They'll be just, I'm gonna find my way. GPS ain't working, but they don't know where the heck they at. It is very taboo. Be in the whole store to walk through every aisle trying to find some paper towels, but they walking down the aisle with the cat food. They walking down the aisle with the pops. And they can't find the paper towels. They don't know where they at. But they ain't stopped nobody in the store to say, hey, you know where the paper towels at? What? You can't ask for help in so simple ways. But there'll be the same people that say, oh man, I can't get nobody to support me. I can't get nobody to help me. I'm always having to do things myself. You think? You ain't asked for help no other time. Or there'll be the same people that go, oh no, I got this, and be over there struggling. Nobody. They done sent the boat. Christ done sent the boat. The boat then came and gone. He done sent another boat, and you tell me I'm waiting for my help. Because you think you know everything because you're grown. We think because we're grown, we're supposed to figure it out. Who said that? Who gave us that piece of information? That once you're grown, that you don't need help. I promise to God, I wish my mother, I call my daddy, what you think about this? And I ask my daddy anything. When I first started talking to him about relationships as a grown woman, he'll be like, oh, I can see him doing this. Jesus. Okay, baby girl. What was that again? Because he couldn't understand. Like, oh gosh, she really talking. Because whatever the question, I don't care what the question is. Daddy, is this supposed to happen in there? He'd be like, oh Lord, but he'll answer it. There is not a question on this earth that I can't call my daddy about, including about a man. Wish my mom was here to do it, but he's here. She's not. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get to the place where we stop thinking that we should not ask other people. We should not reach out for help. We should not say, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? I tell people all the time, if you want a healthy relationship and all the relationships that you have had were crappy and sucky, and you're not seeking out a relationship coach or a life coach for your next relationship, you're setting yourself up for failure because time didn't help you. Time didn't make you wiser. You need to learn how. Learn how to have a relationship with your children, with your friends, with your man or your woman. Learn how. Because how we were taught was gone over there. Kids are to be seen and not heard. No, you don't talk when grown folk talk. No, just get up out of here. No, you don't ask me you because I said so. They didn't teach us. They taught us how to be obedient, but it didn't teach us. Which is why I tell my clients to have young children. I tell them all the time, stop treating your children like children. You're not raising babies. You're not raising children. You are raising adults. You are raising somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife. You're raising somebody else's business owner. You're raising somebody else's employee. You're raising a person that's going to have to go out without you. So when you coddle kids, right, it's nothing wrong with, loving on them. I'm not saying don't nurture and love, but there should be some times when they need to hear lessons. Relationships are very fragile if you allow them to be. Because we walk around in this sensitivity like, well, you can't say that to me. Now, I want to be very clear because there's some people that's mean out here. But I have a belief because only a third of the angels got sent out with Satan, right? So I mean the other 2/3 of the earth is good. So that 1/3, even if they multiply, there's still only 1/3 of them. The other 2/3 of people are good people. And so if we learn and we have that mindset that most people are good, then you're going to find good. But if you walk around like, it's 2/3 people, they all mean, everybody's bad, the whole world's bad, and I don't see nothing but bad, then that's all you're going to see. Henry Ford says it well, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Whether you believe it is or it isn't, you're right. I add the last part. Hey, Nisi, how you doing? So we have to understand the words that we say have power. So if we believe that relationships are fragile, they will be. No, they're resilient. They're worthwhile. Right? Interdependency versus codependency is very distinct. Interdependency is healthy, balanced. It supports. It's there to help you make decisions together. It helps you respect each other's autonomy. It respects. It doesn't make you become somebody that you're not. Hey, KL, thank you so much for following me. Hey, Missy, thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that. Lady Leo, T-Mac, how you doing? It does not tell you to stop being who you are. It respects your autonomy. It respects that you're different. I tell people all the time, your partner in relationship or your friends in relationship, your children, they're not right or wrong. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. They're not right or they're wrong. They're just different. It doesn't mean that just because somebody doesn't agree with you doesn't mean they have to be wrong or they're calling you wrong. But so many people in conversations, when you don't agree with them, oh no, they going into a fight. They put their gloves on, they put their mask on, they got their teeth things in, they ready to come, right? That whole Chicago thing is coming out. No. Respect somebody's opinion, even if it's different. Because guess what the beautiful thing could happen? You could actually learn something. Vera, I talked about that. In order for you to trust somebody else, you got to trust yourself first. And I understand. Let me tell you how. I remember the moment that I almost became bitter. I remember the moment. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was in a setting with some friends some time ago, and they were sharing. One of my friends was sharing, and her husband was there. She was sharing about an ex-husband. And my instant response was, girl, don't talk about your ex in front of your man. And he was like, oh, no, 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 no. We good. We like best friends. I realized then I was projecting my own fears onto their relationship. I had no right. Very so much right after that, a day or so later, I was sitting getting my nails done. And the situation where a gentleman was sitting in a chair and he was like, yeah, I need to go get me something to eat. I instantly tapped my nail tech, who I had been seeing for 5 years or so. I said, girl, watch him. He ain't coming back. And she's like, no, 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 no. We have to see the best in people. He doesn't feel good. He's going to go get something to eat. He's going to come back. At that moment, I said, Michelle Monet, you're becoming jaded. And I didn't sit in it. I was like, why? I asked myself, why? What is happening? What has happened in recent time to make me feel that way? And I fixed it. That's what I mean by using your scars for power rather than using them for excuses. Thank you, Inspired Creators, for the gifts. I appreciate you. When you recognize that something triggers you and you recognize something's not right, you're not in your aligned self. Because when you're in your aligned self, you trust yourself, you trust other people, you love yourself, you love other people, you're welcoming yourself, you welcome other people. When you're there, that's when you're aligned with who you really are. And when your alignment goes a little bit right, a little bit left, find out why so that you can get back into alignment. Don't sit in it. So now that you know that, my love, Vera, it's time to do something about it. Thank you, Jerry, for following. I appreciate that. So that codependency looks more like unhealthy relationship patterns. It looks like looking for approval from other people. It looks like you lost your self-identity. You asking people to help you make decisions that are just simple. You can't do nothing for yourself. Everything that you need, you're looking for other people for. And I want to be very clear. I said earlier, we are not meant to be alone. I don't care. I'm not talking about you have to be coupled up. It could be a friend. It could be a family member. It could be your child. It could be somebody. We need other people. However, you shouldn't be codependent. Again, they should come to you and add to you. It should be synergistic so that when y'all come together, it should make a bigger decision. It should make a better decision. It should make it better for you. It shouldn't be the reason why just because somebody else came into your life. Hey, Ross. Hey, Mean. Hey, Bernadette. Right? Because codependency, it leads to enabling behaviors. It leads to lack of boundaries. It leads to an imbalance of the relationship. And ultimately, yeah, but that's okay. You can work through that. Now that you know what your problem is, Vera, you can work through it. If you don't know how to work through it, make sure that you make an appointment with myself or make sure that you come check us out on Sunday. Because it's for the coaches to choose from. We don't care who you choose. That's how we roll. 5 certified coaches with our own 5 businesses. We don't care who you choose. We just need you to choose somebody. And if it happens to not be one of the 5, we don't care about that either. Just get some help. We come on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So follow my page. Make sure that you're following me so that you'll see when we go live. You'll get the notification. Hey, Promised Land. Hey, little Miss Sweet. Thank you, Yaya, for sharing. I appreciate that. Meta, how you doing? Thank you so much for following Vera. Dr. Eddie, how are you? So how do you foster healthy and fulfilling relationships? Let's talk about that briefly. First, you're going to communicate your needs and desires. But how do you communicate your needs and desires? You have to go back to what I said earlier today, and that is making sure that you know what they are. Sit down with yourself for at least an hour if you've never done. Anybody on here ever sat down and written down their goals? Not goals, written down their standards and their core values. Number 1 for yes, number 2 for no. Anybody on here ever wrote down their standards and their core values? Number 1 for yes, number 2 for no. Thank you, Mastin, for sharing. So we got a mixture. How do you expect someone else to come in and know what your wants and desires are? How do you expect to, thank you, Tanya, for the roses. I appreciate that. Hey, Bam, how you doing, my love? How do you expect someone else to come in and respect your own boundaries, respect your standards, if you haven't respected them enough to write them down? Every entity that means something in this world, i.e. corporations, i.e. businesses, i.e. institutions, write down their standards and their core values. Why do they want to do that? Because they want them written in stone, right? And that does not mean that they can't change them when necessary, but they're written. Write the vision, make it plain so that they that read it will run with it. Yeah. That's okay, because you will have to go back the same way that everybody, that these companies, they make changes to their policies and procedures and their standards and stuff like that. They have to go back and revisit. Maybe something new has come up, so they have to revise. But you're going to come out with these core values, right? That probably never change. You can add legs to it, you can add arms to it, but the core values will always remain the same. I am a believer. Nobody can tell me that there is no God. Core value will never remain. It will never change. It will always remain the same. I am a believer. I believe that Christ died on the cross for my sins. I am a believer. You can't come in here and tell me anything else. I don't care what books you show me. I don't care what, if you can't show me him still here on this earth. I knew he rose for me. And you can't tell me that. My core values will remain the same. I went from believing he was white to now he's black. I knew that when I was a kid. I saw the white Jesus on the wall. I went from that. So that was my arm. That was my leg that moved, right? My core values still remained the same, right? So we talk about how things can change a little bit, but the core values will remain the same. Yeah, we all did. And now putting the put out there to everybody else know too. You see what I'm saying? So you got to know what your core values are, and they should be written. Even the church has standards. They call them, what do they call them? I forgot. I used to be a pastor and I can't remember what they called them. They was calling them not minutes. It'll come to me. Thank you, Tanya, for the roses. I appreciate that. The whole point is make sure that your core values and your standards remain the same. Write them down. Do not leave them to your brain. Let me tell you why that doesn't work. The people that put the number 2 where you've never written down your values, and not picking. I want to be informative. I'm a teacher by trade. I'm a teacher in the fivefold ministry. So this is just what I do. Okay. The people that said 2, have you ever walked into a room, number 1 for yes, number 2 for no? Ever walked into a room and forgot why you went there? I know I have. I did it. Let me tell you, I'm a funny story while waiting for people to answer. One day I went into the kitchen and I had turned on the water. And I was like, where are my glasses? Went back into the room to get my glasses. Came back into the kitchen and was like, why is the water on? It happens. So if you can walk out of a room, this is purposeless. It has nothing to do with anything besides you got to go wash the dishes or go get your glasses, right? Has nothing else to do with anything else, nothing big. If you cannot remember what you went into a room for, right? How do you think that you're going to remember what your core values are when somebody, yes, Mr. Green, listen, what your core values are when somebody good looking come up and they just fitting about 4% of your, what you need, boy, 4%, 4, okay? Not 94, 4%. They got 4% of what you looking for. You like, dang, he fine. Oh my God, she bad. And you like, who? What was my core values and standards again? That's what you're going to do. And they're going to say something slick to you. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, just go ahead and whisper that in my ear, baby. Just go ahead and whisper that in my ear. And then you're going to be like, what was those core values? Oh, shoot. And then you're going to be like, okay, I'll get to them later. And then they saying something else and this sound real good. And you like, man, that was good. Girl, let me tell you what he said to me. Man, I met this girl. She bad. And so then you forget that he Muslim and you Christian and you trying to figure out how that's going to work. You forget that he's 60 and you 30 and you trying to figure out how that's going to work. You forgot that he live in New York and you said you didn't want no long distance relationship, but he was just here visiting his family. But you forgot all of that because he was looking good. Man, you better have it written down and rehearse those things so that you don't get thrown. And because my friend said this the best. She said it yesterday. The finer they are, the easier it is for you to let your boundaries go. Hey, sweet mommy-o. Sweet mommy-o. How are you? The finer they are, the easier your boundaries and your core boundaries, your whole core. You see, I can't even say it. You're like, dang, that just went out the door. They was fine though. Could I just a little bit? No, 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 no. I'm wonderful, thank you. Listen, better write them things down. Write them down. Write them down. So after you done sat down so that you can write down your own desires and needs, then you're going to be able to communicate those desires and needs to the people that come into your life. So when they come into your life and you're like, yeah, you fine. You real fine, but this is what I'm looking for. You don't weigh from it. Core values and standards are similar in the sense of they come from your core, but your standards can be adjusted a little bit. Your core values, they're standing. They ain't going nowhere. You may put a leg or an arm to it, to your core values, but your core values remain the same. Your standards, you can go, so I really want somebody, like your core values would be, I live in and walk in integrity. I don't live in lies. So I want someone that's going to, your standards would then be based off your core values to say, I don't want somebody lying to me. Or I want somebody that lives and walks in integrity. Those are core values. I'm a believer. I want someone that's a believer, right? Those are core values. Your standards could be, well, you know what? If they're a new babe in Christ, I don't mind, right? I don't mind teaching them how to pray. That could be a standard that, I really want somebody who is, but I don't mind. So standards are those things when you go, I want this, but I'm willing to compromise a little bit. Your core values remain the same. Okay. So after you've communicated your needs and your desires, you're going to practice self-awareness. That self-awareness is going to come in where you just got freaked out because that dude was fine as heck. You lost your mind because she had a big butt and you can't get it right. So you're going to be like, okay, let me get yourself together. Get together, mind. All right. I'm so self-aware that I understand that I just went with my eyes and not with my core values. So straighten it up. I'm so self-aware that I recognize that emotion was fleeting, that it felt good for the moment, but it's not what I want. I want to feel good for life. I don't want it to just be some emotion that's fleeting up and down because our emotions are up and down, up and down, up and down. You can experience over 132 different emotions in one day. And you don't want to go by that. You want your standards that's standing and you know who you are, right? And so let me give you an example. You can be in a situation where your emotions are so out of whack because of some things that you're going through. And the right person can come along and then you end up doing something you weren't supposed to do. All of a sudden you got oops, right? That's when people say, but it was a mistake. I just fell into it. Oh, you didn't. You made a decision, and you made a decision in your emotions. But when you're not in your emotional state, your logic steps in, because emotions and logic cannot stand in the same room. One has to be in, one has to be out, right? When you're in your logical state, you know that you shouldn't have done it. So you need to get yourself back to that. Would I do this if I was in my logical state? Yes or no? If you cannot answer yes, you shouldn't be doing it. You've got to tap into that awareness about yourself. You got to tap into the awareness that you even know that you're in a mood swing. Yeah, I'm a little emotional today. Let me go figure out why. Why am I emotional? What happened? Who's involved? What just happened? What was I feeling? What was I thinking? It's that time of month for our men and for women. Okay. What's happening? Did I eat something? Did I eat some sugar? Did I eat too much pork? Did I eat too much beef? What's happening in my body? Am I off alignment? What's going on? Right? So you got to think about that self-awareness, figuring yourself out. Once you're spending time and understanding yourself, you're reflecting on your values, your expectations, and your boundaries, it's going to help you make the better decision. Then you want to choose the right moment to be more receptive to what you really want. What does that mean? That means that you cannot be preoccupied with stress. You cannot be preoccupied, period. You need to be mindful of where you are, what you're doing. Go to yourself. If you're at work, take that 15-minute break that you get. You get a couple of them throughout the day. Go take yourself in your car. Go for a walk. Go walk around a circle. I remember when I was working in a school, when I first got here, coaching in a school, I had 656 students that I was coaching when I first came to Atlanta. And it was stressful. Like, you're taking on all of these people's stuff, right? And you hearing people talking about I had a death in the family. My mama did this. My mama took my money. I had a cohort of students that maybe 5% of them were homeless, but they were getting straight A's. All these different things I'm having to deal with. I would take myself, when you go up to the third floor, if you go around, you go through two doors, one door this end and one door that end, but you end up in a circle. I would just keep walking around. And I remember the first time somebody saw me doing that. What are you doing? Walking. It's raining outside. Can't do it outside. You got to find those moments to self-regulate. Thank you, Dennis, for sharing. I appreciate that. So you've got to find that. So choose those moments to de-stress, right? Use I statements. Stop saying you made me. No, they can't. Nobody, we're talking about emotional intelligence, y'all. Nobody can make you do anything. Do know that. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. Nobody can make you do anything. They can trigger you, yes. What you do with that trigger is all on you. Thank you very for the gifts. I appreciate you. It's all on you. Emotions last about anywhere from 14 to 17 seconds, depending on how in tune you are. What you do with the 15th or the 18th second is all on you. If you decide to stay mad, it's you. If you decide to be infuriated, it's you. It's you. Even if you decide to be extra happy, it's you. You have control over your emotions, whether you believe that you do or not. And so instead of saying somebody made you, say, you know what? That wasn't a moment that I really wanted to happen. I didn't like how that felt, but I felt this way, or I felt that way, or I feel this way. Not you made me mad, or you make me sick, or I'm tired of you. No, no, no. You have control over yourself and no one else. You can't even control a 2-year-old. Don't believe me? Put them in the floor with candy and walk away. And tell them, don't eat that. They're going to be like, watch me, bruh. I'm watching you. You left? All right, good. We allowed it to happen, right, Bam? We have control over how we react or respond. And reactions come from emotions. Responding comes from logic. You want to then be clear and direct. Don't hint or expect people to read your mind. And do not say, well, they should just know. No, they shouldn't. Tell them. Tell them what's happening. Tell them what environment that you're being placed in. That's creating a space where you then feel some kind of way. They can't make you feel it, but they can create the space. Be direct. Be clear. Articulate your needs and your desires. Say what you need. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Then you want to listen actively. Communication is a two-way street. If you over there like this, I hear you. I'm listening to you. I hear you. Dang. What? Know that you ain't actually listening. And let me tell y'all about me. I tells on I tells on myself first, right? I know when I'm being emotional. I know when I'm deregulated. I know when I'm being emotionally unintelligent. And I've done those things too. Okay. But you have to scale back and know, yep, you tripping. Ooh, child, you tripping. You know you acting up. Don't do that. You can only tell yourself, right? So you want to actively listening. Actively listening means you're going to look at somebody in the eye when they're talking. You're going to nod when you need to nod. You're going to keep your arms from being folded. You're going to keep yourself open to be able to hear. Actively listening means that if somebody says something to you, I understand how you can feel that way. I understand that. I don't really agree with it, but I can understand how you feel that way. Yeah, I get it. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's not an apology. Did y'all hear me? Y'all catch that, right? I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's not an apology. I'm sorry that I said something that triggered your feelings. That's an apology. I'm sorry that you feel that way. You can't be sorry that somebody feels some kind of way. You can be sorry that you triggered the feeling. Embrace vulnerability. Sharing your true feelings and your needs is going to make you vulnerable. But it's okay. We have been taught that vulnerability is a cuss word. I will never forget when I was married to my last husband, his godmother said to me, you want him to be vulnerable because they think of vulnerability as an attack because the whole Christian thing, you vulnerable to an attack. Vulnerability just seems to me simply means open, and it can be negative or it can be a positive. But if you're talking about your husband or your wife, being vulnerable is not a negative. And she was like, I can't believe you want to be vulnerable. She went off on me. And I was like, yeah, he should be vulnerable to me. I'm his wife. And if you can't be vulnerable to the people that you're in relationship with, be it a friendship, family member, or a romantic relationship, why are you there? Why are you in a relationship with someone that you cannot be open and vulnerable with? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself, why do I continue this relationship? How beneficial is it to me? Because I can't be myself. I can't be open. I can't be true. Hey, Gold Rose, thank you so much for likes. Hey, Bella. Hey, RD. Next, you want to acknowledge and address your differences. Acknowledge that you're different. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means it's different. And then this is one thing that people do not do. Follow up. Just because you had a good conversation and you think that you resolved it, or because you had an argument and you think you resolved it, it's okay 2 weeks later to come back and say, remember, like 2 weeks ago we had that conversation. I know it got a little heated, but are we good? Did we clear that up? Did we fix that? I just want to know. Are we good? Okay, great. I'm gonna hug it out, right? Because we think, or we may have not resolved it. Follow up. So many times we get into situations where we clear a conversation or we think we cleared it and we never come back and say, we good? Are we okay? Yeah, most times it's not a follow up. But that shows you really care. When you say something to somebody and go, I know that how we left this conversation off and it wasn't real favorable, but I just wanted to see, are we okay? Are we good? Are we still friends? Are we still family members? Are we still together? Whatever the case may be. Hey, Queen, thank you so much for following. But follow up, not only with them, but yourself. Man, I was feeling a little emotional earlier. Am I good today? Yeah, I feel really good today. Let me go ahead and journal that in my thing. Journal. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Because last week up here in that journal setting, I was not feeling too good. Okay. I'm glad that I figured that out. It's the same thing with journaling. If you're journaling and you're not going back to reread it and find the patterns for yourself, you're not journaling correctly. You're just writing it down to get it out. Journaling is writing it down, getting it out, assessing, thinking about what happened, figuring out where the patterns are, and then coming back to follow up. Yes, understanding is always important, Tanya. Thank you, Bam. I appreciate that. So I'm going to give you guys this real quick interactive activity. If you want to get some pen and piece of paper to write it down or whatever, if you need me to wait to get a piece of paper and a pen, because if you haven't been following me, you should already have a piece of paper and a pen. But if you need to go get that, put the number 1 in and I'll wait. Comprehension is important, Miss Brewer. Listen, Gold Rose, if you feel like you can't, that you're more happy and free alone, I always think that everybody should have somebody, even if it's just a friend, because you can't be vulnerable. Thank you for bringing it up too. You can't be vulnerable with everybody, but that's why I'm saying you have to choose the relationships that you have. Because just because, thank you, Andrew, I appreciate that. Just because you are in you have blood, the same blood when somebody running through your vein doesn't mean that you have to be in relationship with them. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Doesn't mean that. You can choose who you want to be in relationship with. Relationships are choices. Blood and relations are not. Can't tell. You can't take out somebody's blood that's running through your veins. You're in there. You're in your. I'm sorry, relatives. You're their relative because they blood running through your veins. But you can choose who you're in relationship with. So let's talk about this. This is going to be real quick. So the purpose is to help you to reflect on your personal identity and know the relationships that influence your self-perception. That's what this is for. Okay. Thank you, Vera, for the gifts. I appreciate that. Hey, Miss Q Harris. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Solomon. So the first thing you want to do is find a quiet place. You have to take some time out for yourself. How many of you take at least 20 minutes? Number 1 for yes, number 2 for no. How many of you take at least 20 minutes a day just to yourself, not doing anything but spending time with yourself? Yeah, Mila? Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Thank you, Stephen, for following. I appreciate that. Yeah, got a mixture of the both. This needs to be for those who are not doing this already. I promise you, this is going to change your life. Everybody is not ready for healthy love because they don't have healthy love with themselves, Mrs. Brewer. And that's what we talk about today. How to get yourself back. Are you lost? That's what we're talking about today. Bashful? Yes. A lot of people don't do it. It hurts until you learn how to find the lessons in it. And I want to be very clear. Doesn't mean that it takes the pain away, but the hurt of it doesn't linger like that. You look for the lessons. You're not going to be without pain for the rest of your life. We're going to be disappointed more than we're not in the rest of our lives. I don't care if you got 40 years left, 60 years left, 20 years left, 5 years left, you're going to be disappointed. We just have to decide what we do with that disappointment. When we use it as excuses for us being distant, lacking fulfillment, depressed, sad, when we use as excuses, or when we say, you know what? Boy, that didn't feel good. I ain't like that at all. But let me find the lesson because I got to get something out of it. Like, I got to get something out of it. I refuse to allow life to happen and life be lifing. And I ain't getting something out of it. And if I can't get nothing but the lesson, I'm getting something out of it. Queen, I'm talking about the sitting with yourself for a minimum of 20 minutes a day. Just with yourself. Not on the phone, not playing a game, not watching a movie, not listening to music, but just quieting yourself. So you're going to find a quiet space for yourself. If that's in your closet, that's in your bathroom, on the toilet, that's in your shower with not the water running, because I don't want you doing nothing. I want you to sit quiet first, and then you're going to do something. So you can't be in the shower and then start writing, okay? Part of that, when you find that quiet place, I want you to close your eyes and breathe deeply. Find the rhythm to your breath. Breathe in. Out. Do that. A few deep breaths in, a few deep breaths out. Bring yourself to a calm. Bring yourself all the way down. With each breath, allow yourself to become more relaxed. You will feel yourself going from this to your whole body will relax and just loosen, right? Once you do that, and I'll come back to that, Gold Rose, just give me a second. I want you then to reflect on your own identity. What are your passions? What do you love to do? What makes you smile? What brightens you up? What gives you that fuel? What makes you feel like you're alive? What are your values and your beliefs? What's most important to you? What will you hold on to for dear life and protect? What are those strengths and your unique traits that you have? What's great about you? What's so good about you? Reflect on all those beautiful things about yourself. Consider the relationships that you have. With those aspects of your self-identity in your mind, reflect on those current and past relationships. I want you to consider, how have these relationships supported and challenged my sense of self? How have I changed aspects of myself to please other people? Am I a people pleaser? Do I worry about these things with other people? And if they've changed me, how? What have I learned about myself from these relationships? Because you get the lessons, got to get the lessons, got to get the lessons. Then take those same things that you just reflected upon and envision your future self with you changing the aspects that need to be changed, but maintaining your core. Remember, I talked about that. That doesn't change. What boundaries will you set to preserve your sense of self? What do you have to put in place? How many fences do you need to put up? How will you ensure that your passions, your interests, and your values are not lost in those relationships that come along? Write these things down and then reflect. Take a moment to write down any feelings that you're having when you think about that. You know what? That made me nervous. That brought a little anxiety. That made me excited. I was truly depressed about that. That made me happy. That saddened me. Oh, I don't like that. I was a little bored when I was writing. Oh, I need some more excitement in my life. Write down what you're feeling. Then write down the decisions that you came up with during this exercise. What did you decide? Did you decide that, hey, that was boring. I need to do some more excitement in my life. My life is this boring right now. I want to do more. You know what? Man, my life is a wild turn. I need to bring it down a little bit. I want to smell the roses more. I've noticed that I have this pattern of I'm always in this heightened sense, but I don't remember the little details. Wow, I pay attention to too many details. I should probably see the bigger picture. You know what? I find myself alone a lot. I like that or I don't like that. Man, I'm always around too many people. I don't take time for myself. Figure out what's happening. Assess that. And then if you feel comfortable with sharing with someone else, to maybe, say, man, I figured this out about myself. And let me show you what I figured out about myself. But if you don't, keep it to yourself. It's okay. Right? Once you finish writing, you're getting all that down, go back and close your eyes. Take a few more deep breaths. Reflect upon what happened. Get up and go. Get up and go. Now, this is not set to put you in anxiety where you're worried about the future, worried about your life. No, it should be reflective in nature, but it should not bring you anxiety. And if it's bringing you anxiety, go back to breathing. Thank you, LaFace, for following. I appreciate that. Hey, Miss X. Okay, so how can you learn the lesson without understanding? I never understand why people do what they do. I'm going to give you a story for that. So I listened to a woman who was on here on TikTok. She's a motivational speaker now, Hispanic woman, beautiful woman. And she said that before she became a motivational speaker, she was an EMT. Thank you. It is what it is for the perfume. I appreciate that. She was an EMT and she had to go into this house where, thank you, DKA, for the roses. I appreciate that. She had to go into this house where a father had unalived his 3 babies and himself. Now, he unalived the children, but he ended up surviving himself. Okay. And as they were taking him away, she was just standing there like, I can't, because she had to go and get the babies out of the house. She couldn't figure out, like, oh my God, like, why would he do this? Like, who could do that to their child? Like, what type of mind? Hey, Daddy Ford, how you doing? Hey, David K, thank you so much for following. And she walks up to her commanding officer and she says, I don't understand this. How in the world could he do that? And she said she remembered him turning to her and saying, the moment you understand, you have become them. And as soon as I heard her say that, I was like, whoa, that was good. What that simply means is many times you won't understand unless you're in somebody's shoes. And if you're trying to understand somebody that doesn't make sense to you, maybe it's because you don't need to be them. But because if you can understand how they did it, then you can understand them actually doing it. If you don't understand, that's why I love the scripture where it says, peace that surpasses all understanding. Hey, sweetie and sassy sipping. Hey, Larry G. Don't understand. You don't need to. Because if a person has done something to you that causes you a misunderstanding, if you can't get the lesson out of it, it's not either time or you're not supposed to. My pleasure, Gold Rose. So with that being said, I think I said everything. Yeah. Any questions? Any more questions for me? Any more questions? For those who are new, thank you so much, Daddy, for the roses. For the gifts. I appreciate that. Thank you for following Gold Rose. For those who are coming in, I'm Coach Michelle Monet. I'm a certified relationship coach, and I go live every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am also a part of a group of 5 certified coaches. We go live. We are called the Transformation Team. We are your favorite coaches on TikTok. We go live every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, King, how are you? You something else, King. My pleasure, Tanya. I'm glad that it was. I'm glad it served you. Thank you, Sherry. I'm glad it served you. Hey, Raymond, thank you so much for following. Hey, Marjorie, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, King. I appreciate you. And so we go live every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about relationships for at least a few hours. And so make sure that you're following me so that you can get notification when that happens again. Thank you, Bam. We appreciate that. So anybody else have any questions for me? Put the number 1 in if you're typing, and then I'll wait. Also, if you want to know a little bit about me as well as find out how to use rejection as fuel, I have a book called Rejection Saved My Life. I wrote this book in 2018. And it has 15 chapters in it with 15 different lessons on how to use rejection as fuel. Fuel is an acronym. I love acronyms. There's so much power in one word. It stands for faith upgraded to exponential levels. How to use rejection to build your faith to upgrade your faith to exponential levels. It is on my site. You can click the link in my bio. It's $20. I signed it because it comes straight from me. I used to have it on Amazon, but I had a backwards compliment when somebody had downloaded my book and translated it into French. Had a whole forum talking about my book and selling it for $35, and I didn't get not a dime. So I took it off of Amazon because even though I was intrigued, because I went and clicked all those buttons that said translate, and I was like, oh my God, look at them. Wait, hold on, with my money. That was me. I was like, oh, that was so beautiful. They loved it. Okay. Wait a minute, where my money? The other day and time, Mondays and Thursdays for me personally, I come live on here Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And on Sundays, the transformation team goes live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You sure can ask anything, Gold Rose. And if I got an answer, I'll answer you. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, this is, I don't know if I didn't know if I should have been offended or happy. I was kind of bold. Like, hold on. Where's my money? And my book ain't $35. Like, is that an exchange rate or what? I didn't know what the heck to do. I was a little confused at it. New Truth, how you doing? Man, because they didn't give me my royalties. Absolutely. I was like, wait, hold on now. I wouldn't have shut y'all down if I'd have got a little of that money. Especially at $35. Because it was it was a lot of people in there that had apparently bought the book because they were talking about it. I was like, dang on it. Somebody made a movie of my book in my life and didn't give me nothing. I don't know if they made a movie, but it's movie worthy. How do we truly let go of the grief and staying stagnant in the grief? Ski. So I say this, no one can move your grief but you. No one can move your grief but you. What that simply means is you are going to grieve as long as you allow yourself to grieve. You are going to grieve as long as you allow yourself to grieve. Grief is heavy. No one can tell you you shouldn't be grieving, or it's too long for you to be in that, or you should have been got over that, or you know what, why are you talking about that? It been a long time ago. No, whether it be a person, a relationship, a situation, or whatever. No one should tell you when your healing should take place. However, you then have to decide how long do you want to grieve? Because grief puts you, like you said, in a pause moment. It places you in a pause moment because you're dealing with those emotions. You're not dealing with the growth. You're not dealing with the lessons. You're not finding the good. All of those things growth is going to make you question. It's going to make you answer. It's going to make you seek. It's going to make you find. If you're not doing those things, you are stagnant. Grief will keep you there. So you have to decide, okay, grief, moving past the grief does not take away who that person was. Moving past the grief does not change how great this person was in my life, how important this person was in my life. It doesn't say I've moved on and I forgot about you. Moving past grief just simply says this person will love me enough to say they want me to be happy. This person will love me enough to see me move past the pain. This person will love me enough to say, hey, I don't want you to hurt for me. I'm actually in a good place, or I'm not, or however you want to put that, whatever your belief is, right? But grief would say, moving past the grief would say, this person loves me, that they want the best for me. And so, what would that best be? What would they want me to do? How would they want me to respond? And I'm willing to bet that no one that you grieve would sit back and go, I want you to be crying all day. I want you to cry every time you think about me. I want you to be sad. I want you to sit in that. Don't move. No, don't grow. Don't think about that. Don't be happy. They would never do that. They would want you to be happy. They would want you to love. They would want you to be open to love. They would want you to move on. Unless it's some mean, nasty ex. And then you got to think to yourself, how much longer will I let them affect my life? Even in the grief of that. How much longer should they keep affecting your life? Thank you, Slim, for following. I appreciate that. I resent my own loyalty to others. How do I not be mad at myself for being there for others? Understand that your heart is big and pure. And just because it's big and pure, that somebody is so selfish, so unaware, so self-loathing that they can't take the beauty in your heart and it's respected and honor it. And guess what? I said this earlier in the beginning of this whole talk. When you do things because you want to, your power is in, I gave it to you because I can. I loved you because I have a big heart to love you. And I love myself more. So I'm just giving you the after overflow of me. And because I'm giving you the overflow of me, I still got an abundance of myself. And you just got a portion, but guess what you could have, guess what you're missing out on? You're missing out on the constant overflow of it. And if you don't know that yourself, I'm sorry. Sorry that you can't appreciate the beauty in my heart. I'm sorry for you. But me, I'm good because I gave it to you because I wanted to. You didn't take it from me. I gave it to you. And the beauty of a gift is a present. Me giving it to you wrapped up in a beautiful bow in a box, I must stay good. Because you disrespected it, it's not taken from me. So I'm not going to be mad at myself for being who I am. I'm not going to be mad at myself because I was created in the image of the Most High God. And if He loved the whole world, I can definitely love you. It's okay that you didn't love me back. I'm sorry for you that you didn't get to experience the best part of me. I'm sorry that you didn't get to know me for who I really am. I feel sorry for you. And it's okay. I pray for you nonetheless. But I'm going to take my abundance of all the love that I have and I'm going to give it to someone else who can appreciate it. I'm not going to hold on to it because you didn't accept it. I'm not going to hold on to it because you didn't value it. I'm not going to hold on to it because you didn't know what to do with it. I'm going to take it and give it to someone who does. So don't resent yourself. Love yourself for being the beautiful person that you are, that loves yourself so much that you can love other people and be okay with that. Auntie Latifa, how what, my love? Please explain so I can answer your question. Thank you, Ashley, for following. I appreciate that. Slim241, I want you to ask yourself who this person was, because I hope I may have missed it, who this person was to you. But ask yourself who this person was to you. Celebrate their life in their life. And this may sound harsh because I lost my mother at 15. And every time something good happens to me or for me, or something bad happens to me or for me, I think of her and I wish that she was here. I have her on my desk. That's my mama. Okay, and my daddy. And I always say, you know what? Barbara Jean, oh, I wish she was here. She's been dead for 30, I was 15, I'll be 54. We're talking about almost, how many years is that? 40 years? Woo, almost 40 years my mom's been gone. But I still miss her. But you know what? Everything I've accomplished, I did it for her. And I always say, Mom, I hope you're proud of me. Every time I get on here and I help one person, Mom, I hope that you're proud of me. Every time I come on here and I say, stop normalizing mental health so that people that have mental health can get some help. Mom, I hope you're proud of me. I am going to celebrate the life that she had. And I want to be very clear. She wasn't the best mother, but I love her. I love her nonetheless. I wish I got to know her better and just have a few years of my life with her. But I'm going to celebrate who she is to me and who she was. That's what makes me feel good. Are there sad moments? It is. Every October 7th, I get in a moment, but I come out of the moment. Because her birthday is October 7th. She died October 9th. But I come out of the moment because I know that she wouldn't want that for me. She wouldn't want me stagnant. She wouldn't want me staying there. So choose. Make the choice, Slim. Hey, Silver Fox. Thank you, Tanya, for the roses. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Find a way to celebrate him. Maybe something like teaching people how to be safe on motorcycles. Like when I got my motorcycle license, I had no idea about the respect for motorcyclists until I got the license. And many people that don't go through that class don't have the respect, right? And I don't know if this is how he got injured, how he was unalived. But find some way to celebrate his life. Find the ashes, take them and beautify them. And I know that some people, especially when you're in the grief, it's hard to hear that. But find something so that you can look at this and go, I'm doing this for you, baby. I wish that you were here to see this. I wish that you would see how I'm helping the next person not be unalived on a motorcycle. I wish that you could see how, man, I'm help. Find something in that. And sometimes it's challenging, but you gotta press. Press. Thank you. It is what it is for the gifts. I appreciate that. Did I miss a comment, Miss Peaches? Uh, um, Mrs. Brewer, go ahead and click the link in my bio to make an appointment. If it's for a couple, make a discovery call for couple. If it's for discovery call for individual, make a discovery call for individual. Oh, Tanya, thank you so much, my love. Thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that, Tanya. Ski, sometimes people will take advantage of you. We all get taken advantage of. Don't use it as an excuse. And I say that, and so when I say that, especially with people that don't know, because you're new, I've never seen you on my platform before. I say this from a stance of a person who's been in abusive relationships with family and friends, with people that were strangers. I've been abused in domestic violence situations. I've been taken advantage of, and somebody SAing me. Okay, I've been abused in romantic situations. I've been abused, right, in a lot of different situations. Left with bruises, left to die. Or F1, y'all. Sorry, F1, 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 F1. Right, but I tell you, one, I wouldn't take back anything because it created me. as I am who's talking to you right now. The second thing is, I'm not going to allow someone who abused me to keep abusing me by allowing myself to sit in it. Because every time you talk about the abuser, every time you talk about what they did to you, you're giving them more power. Take your power back. You know what? Their loss. They didn't know how great I am. Their loss. Let me go find people who know my value and understand who I am. They didn't get it. Bye. They didn't get it. Deuces. They didn't get it. Peace. Whatever. You don't understand my value and my worth. That's all right. It's some people out here who will, honey. It's 8 billion people on this earth. I'm going to find some. I'm going to find my tribe. I'm going to find the people that love me. I'm going to find the people that value me. I'm going to find value in myself first. So then I will attract those people to my life. And if you didn't get it, sorry. Don't come to me when I'm all up there on that pedestal up there and I'm doing well. Don't come to me when I'm doing it and doing it wow, right? Don't come to me because I might throw you a buck and be like, all right, go and get you some coffee. But I'm not going to let you keep me down. You don't get to say something, do something, be something towards me negatively and keep doing it over and 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 over again. No, I will take myself from your presence because you don't value me. You're looking at me like a cubic zirconia, but I am a diamond. And since you don't value my diamond in me, then I must take the values and I must take the bling. I must take all of this away from you. And it's okay because you're going to meet those people. Christ himself had a Judas. It's okay. And you may do what Miss Peaches said, find a grief counseling. There's a therapy. You need therapy for that. Good. Thank you, Tanya, for the gifts. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bam. Can you explain more about how I use it as an excuse, like excuse to move on and take back? Okay. Um, being in an abusive relationship and having multiple marriages that failed, I could be like, you know what? I ain't gonna never be in a relationship no more. I'm done with relationships. I ain't doing this no more. I'm not doing this no more. I don't want to be hurt no more. No, people keep hurting me. Every time they hurt me, everybody's bad. Everybody's bad, and I don't trust nobody no more. And I'm just gonna be right here. I'm gonna do it by myself. I'm gonna just be by myself. I ain't talking to nobody. Nobody look at me no way. Excuses to be a victim instead of saying, you know what are the lessons that I learned out of those relationships? You know what, Michelle Monet, you were just like your mother. You kept going and looking for love in all the wrong places. Michelle Monet, you didn't like yourself enough to be by yourself so that you weren't by yourself and you just kept trying to feel F-I-L-L the voids instead of feel F-E-E-L the voids. So you need to get with yourself. Michelle Monet, what are the lessons that you learned? Oh, you're repeating cycles that happen in your mother's and your grandmother's life and your father's life. How do I fix that? Don't run. How do I fix that? Fix it. How do I fix that? Be more self-aware. How do I fix that? Be by yourself. How do I fix that? Love yourself. Let me find the lessons. That's how you do it. What if you write what down, Vera? Did that help you, Ski? Thank you so much, Tanya, for the gifts. I appreciate that. Good. I'm glad that helped you, Ski. Hey, Miss Stallion. Anybody else have any other questions for me? Nothing happens to you. Nothing happens to you. Nothing. I need y'all to understand. And the reason why I tell y'all what I've gone through is so that you can understand clearly that I'm even saying even the worst of the worst things happened for me, because it created me and pushed me into my purpose. And I've had somebody come on to my comments and say, and somebody, essayed my child. How could that happen for me? Because you're going to be more protective of your kid. You're going to watch your child more. You're going to make sure that your child is very clear on what stranger danger looks like. You're going to make sure that your child gets through some tough times, and you're going to be there every step of the way. You're going to be closer to your child than you've ever been before. It's happening for you. Gold Rose, I believe that you can go. I've never seen it before myself, but they say that you can replay a live. Anybody else, Miss Peaches, have you seen lives replayed? They say that you can replay a live. But I'd have to figure out how, Gold Rose. Only if I post it? Okay, so I'll repost it. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. So I'll figure out how to repost it so that you can. Thank you, Miss Peaches. Why we follow our parents' mistakes? Because they're authority in our lives. And that's all we know until we know better, which is why I tell people all the time, when you become grown, I don't care if you had the best, I want to take it to the best extreme. You had both parents in your life. They were both there. They never missed a trip from school. They came to all your assemblies. They were there to cheer you on in everything that you did. You was the best life ever. You should still get grown and question everything. Why? Because whatever has been instilled in you, both positive and negative, you need to see how it's affecting you. You need to see why you believe what you believe. You need to know 10 toes down that I am a Christian, I am saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost, not because my grandmother said, get over here and get in this water and be baptized in the name of Jesus, the Son, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Because I said, who's in my house is going to serve. No, right? Get away from all that. You need to know why you're doing things and stop saying, well, my mama did it because my mom and my daddy did it because no. Why are you doing it? Why do you serve God? Why do you serve Buddha? Why do you serve Muhammad? Why do you serve Allah? Why do you serve whoever, whatever your beliefs are? Why do you believe it? You need to question everything. And let me tell you what questioning everything makes you do. Research. It makes you seek ye first the kingdom of God, if that's your belief, and all of his righteousness, so that all things can be added to you. It makes you go and look for the wisdom, because wisdom is not found, it's sought after, right? So it's going to make you question everything, so that when somebody come up against you and say, you're not a Christian, you say, you're a lie, right? You be like, nah, bro, let me tell you how, I believe it. Let me tell you what made me start thinking about that. Long time ago when I was a kid, I was like, when I get grown, I'm going to question everything. I'm going to tell you why. I remember being a teenager and Jehovah's Witnesses, no disrespect to Jehovah's Witnesses, please, y'all. Jehovah's Witnesses came to our door. We were told, you don't talk to Jehovah's Witnesses. If they come to your door, you pretend like you quiet. Everybody freeze. They gone. They ain't gone yet. All right. Be quiet. Everybody freeze. All right, they gone. All right. That's what we were taught. Don't make no noise when the Jehovah's Witnesses come to your house. Why? Because they're going to talk to you and try to convince you that Christ isn't Lord and all these different things. And I was like, but what if they got information that I want to hear? How do I know what I know? And I couldn't say that in my house because I would have been put out and get my butt whooped. I couldn't say that, but mama, why we can't talk to them? I couldn't say that. But I remember I was like, when I get grown, I'm going to find out. And I remember having a really good conversation with Jehovah's Witnesses. I was like, this is pretty good. Man, they out there more than we out, but we talking about we the ones. Let me go find out for myself. I never wanted anybody to come to me where I had to be so afraid of having a conversation about my core beliefs that I hid and was frozen. I never wanted that. I believe that if I had this core belief and it was a part of who I was, I can have a conversation with anybody, and still walk away solid and whole. They go with their way, I go back with my way. We had a good, healthy conversations about our differences. And nobody convinced me, nobody convinced them. That's what I believe. And if somebody can come in and convince you when you try to hide from the conversation, you ain't 10 toes down. You don't believe it. Somebody told you to do it. Right? And so that's why we follow them because we were told to. We don't question. But when you get old enough to know that something didn't feel right. I watched my parents argue all the time and they didn't resolve nothing. Or I watched my father whoop my mama. Or I watched my mama be with other men. Or I watched my father be with other women. Whatever the case may be in dysfunction of it or the greatness of it. You need to ask why and ask yourself, what did that make you feel? How did that feel to you? What did it do to you? So that you can do something different if you didn't like it. And if you did, go ahead with it. But make sure you're 10 toes down in it. I'm glad that you're here too, Ashley. I hope that answer you, Vera. Thank you, Cuban Mix, for the share. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna look to figure out how I can share it, Go Rose. Hey, Pandora P, how are you? Thank you, Cuban Mix, for the share. Absolutely, Vera. I don't either. My beliefs are mine. According to what I believe, ain't nobody gonna stand next to me at the throne. Nobody. My mama, my daddy, my sister, my husband, my children. Ain't nobody gonna be there to be like, she root her on. I ain't gonna have a whole entourage. Thompson, Lord, she was good down here. You go ahead, give her one of them mansions. Not one. Okay, they're not gonna be there for that. I'm gonna be standing there 10 toes down with what I did and what I didn't do. Period. I ain't gonna be able to call a friend. I ain't gonna be able to get a favor. I ain't gonna be able to do none of that. She could send it to herself on message. What do you mean, Marjorie? I'm doing wonderful, Pandora. Thank you so much for asking. Hey, Bones the Hated One. Anybody else have any other questions? Yeah, y'all tap the screen. Tap the screen for me. It's 62 people in here. We had 36,000 likes. I've been on here for two and two and a half hours. I should have been at 50,000 likes. Boy, I be just talking to y'all. I be trying to tell y'all nothing. Did y'all know what happens when a creator comes live and you sit and watch and be enthralled with what they're saying and you're not tapping the screen? You know what you're telling TikTok? I don't like what I'm hearing. This should not even be on here. TikTok, don't put them in front of nobody because we don't like what we're hearing. But when you're sitting there and you're doing what I call the tap and listen, tapping and listening, tapping and listening, whether it's both fingers or not, just tap and listen. Then you're telling TikTok, this girl is pretty cool. I like her. Put her in front of more people. No problem, Miss Peaches. Thank you so much for being here, my love. Make sure that you following my moderator, Miss Peaches. She's amazing. She's also a therapist, and she likes me. I say that because we, as coaches, we have had battles with therapists in the times of us being on in play for the last 7-8 years. We're trying to figure out where we fit. So to be able to have therapists come and support us, it makes us feel good. It makes us feel like what we're doing is the right thing. And not that we need the validation, but it's a great thing to have because it lets us know that we're on the same page. And the same page is we want people who are healthy. Thank you so much, Vera, for the crown. I appreciate that. We want people healthy minded. We want people to have healthy relationships. We want people to just be great, right? And so I always say that because I love Miss Peaches and Miss Peaches loves me. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much for the follow, Herxie. Why you talk and tap, talk and tap. It's free. It's free. Like the gifts are great. We love the gifts. It gives us half of what you sent. Well, we love the gifts. We do. But the taps, it just keeps us encouraged to keep going. And it also keeps us from having to verify. Because sometimes when there's no movement on the screen for too long, we have to verify with TikTok that we're actually live in person in real time. Because some of the creators have learned how to go live without actually being live. They just took a recording of their live and they put it up there. And ain't nobody monitoring the comments or nothing. But they getting credit for the live. Thank you, Freddie. I appreciate that. And so TikTok was like trying to figure out who the real people are and who not. So when you have that tapping, it kind of let them know that you're talking to a real person. Thank you so much. Thank you, Freddie, for the roses. I appreciate that. Hey, K Mac, how are you, my love? Thank you so much for liking. Thank you, Tanya, for the roses. Thank you for the like ski. Thank you, Miss Peaches, for sharing. Marjorie, thank you so much. Hey, Shelly. Hey, Dinette, thank you so much for liking. Not sure if it will be there when the live ends, though. We'll see. We'll see. If not, it should be able to whenever I go back to share, like Tanya said, I'll go back and share, hopefully so. But make sure that you're following me. And then even when you finish following me, tap into one of my recent videos because I read all of my comments so that I can go ahead and make sure that you get access to it once I figure it out. How do I get over fear of changing? Fear of change. Most people are afraid of the change. Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict the future, right? We don't know what the unknown, we're afraid of the unknown. And so one of the things I'm going to tell you is just do it anyway. Do it afraid, right? But then ask yourself, what is the change for? Is the change to benefit you and it just feels uncomfortable? Or is the change going to harm you? Then you should be afraid. But if it's to benefit you, then you're just really afraid of the unknown and how it's going to play out. But even if it's not going to, if you can't find the benefits of it, ask yourself this. When I first moved to Georgia, I had people to say, but what if you don't like it? I stayed in Chicago the most of my life. I ain't like it because it was cold as heck there. So whatever happens, I'm going to make the best of it. That's how I felt. I was like, if I don't like it, the weather's great. I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of things about Georgia that I don't like. Number one, the food. Atlanta's food suck. You come from Chicago, the food is amazing. There's every ethnicity and all you can find good food in everybody's ethnicity. Good food, just good food, just good food. Lord have mercy. I also love the fact that in Chicago, you can do a lot of things for free. Not in Atlanta. Can't do nothing here for free. But I'm here for the weather and I'm making the best of it. So you have to find that joy, that love, that happy has to come. It's intrinsic, right? Our challenging times, I have challenging times. Yeah. Remember, I told you I was here in the pandemic 6 months before the pandemic started when I came. And so when the pandemic hit, I was here literally in my house by myself for those 12 months. By myself. Some people had kids with them. They had family members. They had husbands. They had wives. They had boyfriends. They had girlfriends. I had no one for an entire year. So I could have been like, I can't believe I left my family. I'm here by myself. Or I can make the best of it. And I did. And I watched this Hispanic guy run past my window every single day. And I kept saying, man, I should probably be doing that. Oh, I'm watching him lose weight. Oh, that's pretty good. He's getting us a little bit smaller. Oh, he's getting a little bit faster. Oh, wow. I should probably go out there and do it too. I was just making the best of it. Shy is who? Oh, Joseph, who told you that? Chicago, let that hawk hit you, and you tell me it ain't cold no more. Go into my link, user. You book an appointment by going to my link, hitting the appointment, making the appointment discovery call. Chat sound okay? All right, K-Mac. Talking about it ain't cold there no more. Global warming, all right. Have I visited Rock Mountain? No, where is that at, Nisi? Oh, good, Tanya. I'm so glad that it served you, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's cold. Tell me it ain't cold. Not this year, though. Oh, Joseph, where you from? It's cold in Chicago. I don't care how you spin it. Go downtown. Walk past. Go, go, go north or south and get to that opening. Here's a building. As soon as you hit this, you're going to step back. As soon as you get past that, it's going to hit you. You better have on something real. Ooh, Lord, that hawk for. Oh, you'll be sitting there like, oh, the light ain't red. I'm going to stand behind the building. Because as soon as you get past this part of the building, it just come. It just, man, it cuts you. Thank you. These are my readers from Walgreens. I'm not getting a sponsorship though. Anywhere downtown. Anywhere. Child, you can't even get past it. Can't get past it. I don't know what you're talking about. In the alley opening. Listen, you got to walk past the alley openings. The buildings. You got to walk past over there by what's the name of that street where the L. The L up there in that street. You got to walk past there. Over you got to walk. Man, it's cold. Hey, Nicholas. Yeah, man, by that lake. Coming in State Street. There you going. Lake, boy. You talking about freezing OMG. Man, you better have a hat. You better have gloves. You better have two sweaters. You better have some long johns and that long john shirt. You better have on some socks to your knees. You bet, man. Listen. The only time you can get a little warmth is behind them buildings, depending on where the wind is blowing. If it's going east or west, you getting hit. It's almost like somebody come up and that's how I feel. Like somebody just slapped you in the cold. Oh, thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. Yeah, the Hulk, boy. You flying down. Lakeshore in man, Mr. Green, Lakeshore in January ain't no punk. But I'm going to tell you, it's a beautiful drive, no matter what time of year. If you can be on from 61st all the way to Hollywood, that's a beautiful drive. I miss that drive. That is a drive that I used to take when I would be bored, feeling bad, feeling sad. I would just get in my car and just would go from the beginning all the way to the end and then ride back. By that time, you're nice and tired. You want to go home, get something to eat, and go to bed. But I remember that drive. I miss that drive. The last time I went to a funeral, and I made sure I hit that drive before I left. I was only there for a couple of days, but I hit that drive before I left because I miss that. I miss a lot of things. If I could take Chicago and put Chicago or Chicago into Atlanta's weather, I would have never left. But my age and my bones, that cold was, I felt like it was in the core of my, what's the name of the stuff that's in your bone? Marrow. I felt like my marrow and my bones was feeling the cold. That's how bad it was getting. So I was like, it's time to go. I am leaving here for the weather. Yep. But if it do get some global warming where it don't get cold no more, I'm right back there. Right back there. But it ain't gonna do all that. Ain't gonna take it away that much. Cause ain't nothing free to do here. The downtown ain't that big. Ain't nowhere to just drive unless you do 285 in a circle. But it ain't a pretty drive. It's not a pretty drive. There's nowhere here where, unless you're on the highway going somewhere out of the state, where you're gonna see a beautiful drive. Like, I love to drive and just put some India Ari on and listen to all of her tracks and just chill. Car clean, moonroof open, windows down, even if they just cracked if it's cold, and just chill. Sherry, it is just a circle. That's it. I'm sorry, Miss Peaches, but listen. I mean, this is my home. I'm a peach. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. But I sure be. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all how bad it is with the food. I have ordered things from Chicago and paid way too much money for it just so I can have it. Way too much. It's a shame. One time when I first got here, I love. There's a popcorn place called Let's Get Poppin', but I found another one. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's better than that one. But it's Let's Get Poppin', and I had told during that time my ex best friend, her and her husband, I told them to go get me some cheese and caramel popcorn and send it to me. So I got these bags of popcorn that's probably about this big, cheese and caramel, right? And I should keep the box for a memorial or memento, or just to wax it and put it on a wall, because the shipping, after he shipped it, he told me how much he shipped it for. He's like, "Yes, sis, your popcorn's on the way. Here's the tracking number." And I was like, "All right, cool. How much you spent?" Brother, did you actually spend $100 to send me $32 worth of popcorn? $32 worth of popcorn you sent me, and it was $100 to ship. Yeah, I sat and looked at the box for real. I ain't lying. I'm not exaggerating. I opened the box and I set it on my chair with the box open like this. I set it in my chair and I just kept looking at it for about 3 days. And every time I would walk past it, I would get mad. But I didn't want to eat it because I felt like it was too valuable to eat. Like, it should have been memorialized. It should have been put in a box for $100. You sent me popcorn and you spent $100 on shipping it to me. Okay. You ain't had common sense to not do that. Like, I would have waited 3 weeks to get it and not spent $100 for shipping. But he sent it and it was too late and I had to pay him back, and I was mad, but yeah. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000. I appreciate y'all. Hey, Keith, how are you? From Baltimore, Maryland. No, K Mac, not Garrett's. It's a new one. Somebody turned me on to it, and then some of my followers on Facebook sent me some. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I can't think of the name of it though. It's a new place. I've never heard of it before. Before I got it, but it was amazing. Amazing. It was way, because I don't like Garrett's. Garrett's only lasts a day, I don't care what you put it in, the silver container, the bag with the fold over, it don't last that long. But Let's Get Poppin' lasts me for at least 2 weeks if I put it in the refrigerator. And this other popcorn, I literally just threw a bag out because I felt like it was not good because it was all the oil had penetrated the bag. So I was like, I've kind of had this for about 3 weeks. But before I threw it away, it was only a little bit. I tasted it, it was still fresh. I can't think of the name of it though right now. Corn eat corn or something like that. I almost had it. Eat corn or cornery or something corn. I love popcorn. I do. I don't even have my Siri to ask her what's the name of it. But it's let me see if I can find the name of it. It's so good. It's real. They have this deal with this hot, oh my God. If you ever put hot sauce on your popcorn, you would love that. Popcorn place in no, because I don't want you to be listening to me, Google. I don't want you listening to me. Popcorn in Chicago. It's not Garrett's. Let's enjoy a corn. Enjoy a corn. It's located on 79th Street, 3460 West 79th Street. But Let's Get Poppin' is on 117th and Western. I love them. But Enjoy a Corn got some really good flavors. Like I love Let's Get Poppin' caramel and cheese because they got the cheesy caramel. Enjoy a Corn, their cheese and caramel was okay, but it wasn't like, oh my God. It wasn't that. Let's Get Poppin' is, oh my God. Yeah, but try it. Enjoy a Corn. You put hot sauce on your popcorn, but then you would love the it's a hot, spicy, and get it with the dill. Oh gosh. So good. So good. I'm gonna tell you which kind it is. It's called hot dill pickle. And you get it with the hot dill pickle with the hot and creamy dill pickle. You're welcome. Delicious. You will not be, you can order it, Tanya. The shipping is crazy. Thank you so much for helping me reach my goal, y'all. Tanya, the shipping is like $18 to ship, but it's really worth it. It's good. It's good. How did we get into popcorn? I don't know, child. We was talking about Chicago and the stuff that I'm missing from Chicago. Oh no, not for $100. No, not for $100. The shipping, you have to make the shipping worth it. Because I ordered it once and then my followers sent it to me the first time. And so they sent me the cheese and caramel. They sent me, as my followers sent me from Facebook, but they sent me a little bitty bag of the hot dill pickle and the hot and creamy dill pickle. I ordered that myself. And I think the shipping was like $18. But it was worth it. It was. But I had too much of it. I had too much because I wanted to make sure that the shipping, because the shipping was flat. I wanted to make sure I was well worth it. And I ordered too much. Yeah, so that's how we got on the popcorn K-Mac. Thank y'all so much for likes. Anybody else have any other questions before I go? Anybody else have any questions? Oink, thank you so much for joining. Listen, you know how to make the cheese and caramel? Tell you. Because it's a difference. But I also found a place here in Georgia for people who actually came from Chicago and they brought it to here. I can't think of the name of it, but it's still okay. It's still not the best. What do I cook? Today I'm going to eat some leftovers. I made some flounder and some broccoli and cheese rice with some spinach. But I cook a lot of stuff. It depends. I know how to cook a lot of stuff. I love soul food. Yeah, I'm a mean cook. I knows what I'm doing. I don't like it, but I will. And you married, you have to cook. So, but I'm not one of those cooks that get in there and put my apron on, put my music on, and go, I am in my zone. I cook because I have to eat. But I'm a good cook. At least that's what I was told. Any other questions for me? I do not eat according to my blood type, and I probably should, Vera. You know what? I went from I lost 42 pounds back in 2016, 2015, 2016. And I did it one by going to the gym 5 days a week, as well as changing my entire diet. And that so remember we were talking about those standards versus those core values. There was kind of a standard and it kind of got shifted away when you meet a Guyanese man that you marry and they eat nothing but meat. Yeah, so it kind of like went away. Um, so I started eating Guyanese food. And so, well, thank you very much, Nicholas. And so Guyanese food entails a lot of meat. And so, especially if you do pepper pot got 3 different types of meats, I think it is. Or, my husband would be like, yeah, whatever you want to cook, babe, whatever you want to cook. I know that you're a pescatarian, but whatever you cook. But then I presented him one time with some some spaghetti that was made out of squash, and he's like, well, but where's the meatballs? And I was like, there's no meatballs. No meat. I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna go well. I ain't gonna be able to do this without no meat. So because I'm not the cook that just sits there and put my aprons on, my music, and say I'm in a zone, I'm gonna cook one thing and we all gonna eat. I gained a little bit of weight after that, but I lost most of it back. So I have 5 more pounds to get back to where I was pre-married. But yeah. My husband says I cook Guyanese food good too. You can melt some of that good government cheese and add some girl, where you got some government cheese? I need me some government cheese. Man, y'all, that government cheese was the best cheese with, oh, you can make the best cheese toast, the best, oh gosh. That was the best cheese ever. Where did that go? Anybody know what happened to that? Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? So now that I'm back to doing certain things that I like, I've eat more fish now. So and I'm kind of making him lean towards that too. But when his family and his friends send him meat, he eat it. Or we go to places when you go to Rome, you do as Romans do. Sometimes people feel they don't. You have to make sure that you're not offending people when you go to their place. And this is how I ended up eating meat. Um, the friends that introduced us are one of them. Well, they have a catering company, and one of them is a chef. And so he wanted me to taste everything, and I was like, "Yeah, but I'm pescatarian." He's like, "It's okay, it's just a little bit." And every time I would see them, it's just a little bit. And so I was eating everything and tasting everything. And I was like, I don't want tongue. I don't want a cow tongue. I don't want that. No, there's no pineapple. I don't want it. I don't want it. You know, but I would taste it because I didn't want to be offensive, right? But I've learned that my body, and going back to your question, Vera, my body and all meats don't go. And so I would gain the weight and have the toxins in my body and I would feel bad. So I will eat. I love tuna. I love salmon. And then I would eat some fish. And if I'm being froggy, I fry the fish. So that's what we're having today. Some fried flounder. And yeah. Thank you so much, King. Best grilled mac and cheese. Ooh, wee, honey. Yes. The brown box cheese. Yes. Did somebody answer where that come from? Where it go? What they do with our government cheese? Veggie meats, plant. Yes, I do, Nisi. So Gardenian has a really good crumble meat. It adheres to any seasoning that. Listen, I started giving it to my family. I make a lasagna, chef's kiss. And so I one day wanted to fool my family. I made the lasagna, and after they devoured it, I said, "Y'all know y'all didn't eat meat, right?" They was like, "What you talking about? They had ground beef in it." No, that wasn't ground beef. That was protein meat. They were like, "Oh, what?" So now when I make the lasagna, they request it that way. And they're carnivores. They like beef. They like turkey. They like meat. But now they actually request it that way. Make it with that stuff that you make it with, that vegetarian meat. Yeah. Listen, Freddie. I look at it this way. It's a whole bunch of things that will happen in our lives. And I try to eat as healthy as I can, but I'm not gonna be what's the word? That ain't what I want to say. Freight. Freight. Fret. I'm not gonna fret over it. I'm not. Simply because I'm gonna pray over my food, and I'm going to trust that the Lord gonna keep me. And I'm wise. I'm not gonna go crazy. But whatever, I'm just gonna pray because shoot, when I opened a bottle of water the other day, and I was like, "What is that smell in the water?" I poured it out. So it's just you're gonna take it, you're gonna leave it. I got so many other things in my mind to be worried about. Yeah, they messed us up. Why they take our food, our stuff, Sherry? Coconut water. I can't get past it. It tastes nasty. I tried it. My mom. I told y'all my mom passed, but my stepmom, she's my mom. My mom drinks coconut water. She be drinking it down. Boy, I be like, that's nasty. Mm-mm. I can't get past it. I've been trying, but I know that water didn't taste right. And I was like, what's in this water? Like, why does it smell like that? It smelled like it had medicine in it. That great value. Couple of different kinds. Which kind do you drink? Can't do it. The coconut. It don't taste like it. You don't like it either, Ashley. I don't like it. It don't taste right. I ain't by 54. Anybody else have any questions before I head out? Oh, King, thank you so much. Your butt. Yeah, but it's I don't know which brand it is, Sherry. It's in that it's a paper bottle. I don't know. Let me look and see if I can find the name because I know what it looks like. I know what it's. Oh, it's the Vita Coco. Vita Coco is what she drinks. It's go. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Mm. I found out some. You know what, Vera? One thing I did do as far as my blood type is concerned, and this is what I laid off of mostly chicken. I found out that chicken is not good for my blood type. And so when I lay off of it and I eat it every now and again now, I found out that's where I was having pains. So I don't have fibromyalgia, and if I did, I wouldn't claim it. But I know I have a friend who has it really bad. And the way that he would explain to me about the pains that he was in, those were the pains I was feeling in my body. I mean, I would ache. I would wake up in just so much pain. But since I've slowed down on the chicken, not doing it, it's my pains have subsided a lot. And so I probably, if I have the pains, it's because maybe I'm overcompensating because I'm holding my shoulders up. Maybe I'm a little tense, but not like, I mean, I would wake up in pain just out for no reason. But it was that chicken. Yeah, the paper bottle, Tanya. It's not, Marjorie. Yeah, because it was, man, and I noticed I don't have the pains like I used to. I do not. And I was eating chicken a lot. Because listen, my favorite um my favorite comfort food is some fried chicken. Woo, honey. Some fried chicken with some extra lemon pepper from J&J. Woo! Because I don't like frying chicken. I don't like the smell lingering in my house. So I go to buy it, right? But yeah, I can't have me no fried chicken. Yeah. And so it was countering my body. It was terrible. You have the book Eat for Your Blood Type. I have that book too in my Kindle. And that's how I figured it out. But I haven't changed everything. When I first lost the weight and I got with my trainer, she wrote a book called What the Kale. What the Kale. Her name is Farrah Bloodsoe. 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 Farrah Bloodsoe. I never remember her name. Farrah Bloodsoe. She's married again now. But anyway, she wrote a book called What the Kale. What the Kale, like kale, the greens. And Farrah gonna get me and forgetting her dang on name. Anyway, she trained me and she helped me lose the weight. I was going to see her every 5 days a week. And she taught me, well, she took what I learned from my friend with the fibromyalgia, because he's the one who showed me about Walmart, going around Walmart, showing me what was good in Walmart, how everything outside of the around the perimeter was good for you, and everything inside was stuff that you want to stay away from. So he taught me that part. But she taught me how to cook. And when I would be on challenges with her, how she would have me cooking is like 6 to 8 times a day. I got tired of cooking. I got tired of food. By the time I got to the third or fourth meal, I'm done. I don't want to eat no more. But it would because my metabolism was firing up, I would still be hungry, so I would still do it, right? But that's a lot of work. Like I spent so much time preparing food. And I tried to do the whole prepping food first and then put it in the refrigerator, but I would forget it that was in there. Then I would go fix something else. It was just too much work. And so, yeah, cinnamon sticks boiled will get rid of yeah, any smells. Yeah, in the chicken, in the frying. Yeah, I've done that as well as put the regular cinnamon in there too. You juice smoothies every day, fruits. Yeah, I like smoothies. She has in her book a lot of different smoothies that I love. Um, I did anybody else did the green smoothies. Can't think of the name of that book. That was a good book. Green smoothies. Anybody else have any other questions? The 10-day green smoothie cleanse by JJ Smith. She has a lot of good green smoothies in there. Once I finally got past the color, because at first I couldn't do the color, I would have to put it in a cup with a top on it where I couldn't see it so I can drink it. And then once my body knew, oh, this tastes good, then I could see the color and then drink it. But at first it was like, couldn't do it. Yeah, it was good with her. She has some good ones on there. Yeah. Thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for getting me to 60,000 likes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Anybody else have any other questions for me? Make sure that y'all are following Miss Peaches, my moderator. She's amazing. She's always very helpful to make sure that you're in a safe space, that you don't have people in the room that are disturbing you from what's being said and what's being done. So please make sure that you all are following her. I wish I can give her way more than that because she's amazing. Because if you're in a room and you don't have a safe space where you can be free, where you can listen, you're not distracted by people acting up in the comments, where you're not having people coming in disrespecting you based off of what you're saying, where you don't feel a safe space, where you feel like people are going to come in here just to say something bad to you. And that's what the moderators do. So when you're in a setting with the creator and they have moderators, make sure that you're following them. Because if you like what they're saying, then the moderators are usually tap on with them and stuff, because they usually vibe the same, right? So please make sure y'all following her. Any other questions for me before I go? I think I'm on my 10th close by now. Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm glad that you're here too. Good, Tanya. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My pleasure, Sherry. All right, it's 43 people in here. I always say this when I end any type of talk, whether I'm on a stage. I've been in front of at most as 17,000 people speaking on the stage, or as small as 4 people in a room. And I say the same thing. Everybody on here right now, every person, the 45 people that are on here, we all have scars. It is up to us to decide what we will do with those scars. Will you use them as excuses and be victimized, or will you use them as power? I love you too, Tanya. I'll talk to you guys later. You decide. Bye. See y'all Thursday.